guys, hello everyone. Wrong scene actually. Here we go, guys. Thank you so much for joining for today's watch party here towards the upcoming rFactor 2 GT Challenge series. So we have been waiting for the GT Challenge for quite some while now. We have seen very interesting racing indeed on the GT Pro season open at Monza. And well, it is quite interesting to say the least to now see the GT Challenge guys taking the GT3s out at Monza as well. So I don't know really what to expect from today's episode, but what I do know though is that we have loads of things to look at, and then we also have loads of things to actually talk about, I'm pretty sure. So I'm open for your questions, guys. I'm open for all your chat. I'm open for everything to try and answer stuff as good as we can probably do it. As in for the drivers itself, we're gonna have a look into the lineup coming up here on the GT Challenge roster. So let me quickly, there we go. So this is the qualifying list, and quite unsurprisingly, we will see Erhan Yayovsky, the GT Challenge, the GT Pro champion from Season 2, having to make his way up again into the GT Pro Series. So he qualified in third, and there are some top drivers on that list certainly. So Turkka Häkkinen, he has been in GT Pro for quite some, I think for 2 consecutive seasons at least. I raced Christian Michel in GT Challenge Season 1. Erhan Yayovsky already spoke about. Then Daniel Kish, we know him as he joined Zancho. That makes his second part of the career very interesting, I guess. Then we see Jimmy Nusula, Alessandro Ottavani, Johan Kirjan. I have to admit, I haven't heard that name too often just yet. But certainly that P5 is a remarkable performance there so far in the qualifying. So it will be interesting to see his process in the GT Challenge series. Jake the Stout, raced him a couple of times in competitions, servers, same as Diogo Silva, quite good guys. Robin Panza, he has been GT Pro in season 1 and 3, I'm afraid. Was it 3? No, it was 2. In season 1 and 2. And I think he skipped season 3, now trying to get back into it. So we'll see how that goes tonight. Yeah, P11 Henry Sinnick, knowing him from VEC. Then Thomas Wach, Philip Dries, a German. Adam Baldwin, Cameron Roger, Rory McDuff, Fabian Bale. So there are quite some names that I do expect to be fighting at the top for the upcoming series, or for the upcoming GT Challenge crown. So we first give the Traction GG live stream a like before we put it up onto the actual full screen. And well, currently, as you can see, stream is coming up in 5 minutes, but we have time to talk about GT Pro. So I am pretty sure most of you guys have seen the GT Pro activities that happened on last Monday, and well, to be honest, I'm a quite 50-50 on it. Excuse me, I'm just grabbing my coffee. As you may be remembering when we finished the race, I was very much between saying, wow, that was a mega drive, and yet being massively disappointed. And I think you saw that quite evidently, as like, you know, I remember across the line right ahead of Andonovsky, and I was like, yeah, get in there, what a drive. And then I left turn 2 from the cooldown lap, and I said I'm massively pissed off and I'm massively unhappy. Which, you know, there's a quite big story behind that. There's a quite big honesty behind that. So we've qualified in P16, which generally is not that impressive, of course. But further down behind, in P24 that was, Alex Siebel has qualified. But already in race 1, he managed to somehow, I think, finish, was it P11 or 12? I can't recall right now, but I think it was P11, while I could do nothing better than P20 after being stuck in activities around turn 1 and 2, then being cut off while others rejoined on the track. So that makes things a little bit difficult, I'd say. Furthermore, though, in race 2 then, again, Siebel started P24 while I got P16. Start shenanigans happened, lap 1 was a complete disaster, and we found ourselves in P28 at the end of lap 1 instead of, let's say, P15, P16, just where we started. At the end of the day, Alex Siebel finished 6th or 7th, I think 6th, while I was down in 13th, and I mean, we came from 28th, fought us through the field into P13 all over again, and I think Siebel, he had much more luck at the start in general, and like ended up not losing 10 positions mid-race like I did, and that was the reason why I was like literally unhappy. It is like, I don't really know how to say, you know, besides others had luck and were not pushed off the track and did not get themselves into trouble, I think we did pretty much outstanding to a certain extent. Like, we have done probably one of the most impressive drives of the year. Not because we have been super quick, but we have been on point on attacks, we have been on point in defendings, we've done considerably smart driving apart from 2 or 3 occasions. And P13 is good considering we were P28 in the end of lap 1. So, I mean, in 26 laps or 25 laps, we jumped 15 places, which is great, not gonna lie. But the drive itself would have had a top 10 deserved. And if I look at the overall result, you know, starting P16 twice, we should have been like 11th, 12th in race 1, and certainly somewhere in the top 10. When we look at Jene Simoncic, a teammate in an identical car, to be second twice, by all means, you cannot be celebrating about around P20 and P13 then. So, yeah, I celebrated P13 because literally we made up 15 points, as every position counts a point. But, you know, it just wasn't enough, was it? And, well, that's it about GT Pro. We're now checking out GT Challenge though, as the stream is going live. And, well, we will see damn interesting racing around Monza. It is probably the most tricky track to actually start a race on with that narrow turn 1, to say the least. But we will see how this will go in the
Hello
commentary
everybody,
booth,
and welcome
even
to the
Larry
GT Challenge
and Paul
Series
Buckley.
here for season 4. Well, it's all
I'm not gonna
changed in the GT
try
Pro
talk
Series with
too
its
much
move
while they are talking,
to
but
GTE cars
yeah, let's see how this
for
goes.
this season. It is back to our trusty GT3s for GT Challenge Series once again. We've got some familiar faces as well, some massive names in GT Challenge this season. We're very much looking forward to bringing it to you. We've got a 6-race calendar, takes us across the globe, from America back to Italy and Europe, all across Europe. And yeah, it's a good selection of tracks. Some iconic ones in there, but also some little bit strange ones as well, which is going to be very, very fun indeed. Taking you through the entire for the 6th race season. We're very much looking forward to bringing it to you. Good afternoon, Paul. It's a new season of GT Challenge, as I mentioned.
Good afternoon.
And yeah, we've got some big names on the grid. I'm looking forward to
it's
it.
8 p.m.
Yeah, you're right. It's there's plenty
Unless
to look forward
he's based
to,
in
and
the US,
if GT
I'm
Pro
sorry,
on Monday is anything to go by, we're going to have some brilliant racing coming up over the next couple of hours or so. And yeah, big names. Of course, two-time champion from the GT Pro, Yovski, dropped down into GT Challenge for this season, so he'll be definitely one to keep an eye out for. Of course, Turk Hakkinen and Jimmy Nishula dropping down with him as well as all of the up-and-coming stars as well. Loads of names rising through, and just so much talent already on the grid, looking and hungry to get into GT Pro.
Yeah, absolutely. Those, as you mentioned, those three are going to be ones that we're particularly looking out for. Turk Hakkinen, of course, fastest in pre-qualifying as well, which we'll get into a little bit later on. But as we speak right now, qualifying has just commenced, literally just now. We're here at
a quick introduction in the general into the general app view. So they've already talked about it's going to be six races. Here you can see the calendar currently, obviously. So while qualifying is on right now, I just want to point out that this particular championship is currently running on the official Studio 397 rFactor 2 competition system. That said, though, I'm pretty convinced that we will see more of these in the future being carried out on the competition system, as Formula Pro, Formula Pro and GT Pro, neither are taken out on the CS. So they're going through the entire race thing right now. And here is actually, okay, let's call this. This is, I don't know if you can see that, let me see. Yes, you can. This is the rule change triggered of the GT Pro. So bonus prize pool. GT Pro prize money will be deducted from the GT Pro drivers when they get penalties. At the end of the season, all deducted GT Pro prize money will go to the top drivers in GT Challenge. So, yeah, Yovski, congratulations. I think
that's going to be good, but also,
needless to say that he has the chances, the most chances of all the drivers for this bonus prize pool. Anyway, the season itself, exactly the same. 15-minute private qualifying, 15-minute sprint race, 45 main race in order of the qualifying results with a top 10 reverse. So the same rule change that went for GT Pro, also for GT Challenge. GT Challenge obviously open for everyone, with multiple splits of racing every Friday, 13 different GT3 cars from 10 different manufacturers to choose from. That is like, we've already seen that quite a bit. It will be interesting to see, though, about the GT3 slipstreaming, though. As you can remember from the GT Pro Season 3, where we raced in the Audi, there was literally no slipstream whatsoever. It will be interesting to see whether that will be improved or whether that is improved, and we will find out on that in a couple of seconds or in a couple of minutes. So again, about the championship itself, it is Road to GT Pro Season 5, obviously. That means at the end of the season, top 5 GT Challenge promote directly and go into GT Pro Season 5. Drivers positioned in 6th to 10th go in relegation position and fight the P21 to P25 of the GT Pro area. So yeah, the reverse happens to the bottom 10 drivers of the GT Pro. And about the splits themselves, race 1 and race 2 results determine the splits for race 3 and well, not race but round. Then round 2 and round 3 determine the splits for round 4. So they are you know, reshuffling the drivers according to all the results they are creating during that season. Also, it was just said 250 drivers taking part in the race. If you get your times in qualifying, maybe for season 5, you quite like the look of GT Challenge. You want to have a go yourself, well, you can do. But yeah, let's go back into the live stream itself. You can have a go and try and get yourself into GT Pro if you wish, of course. So yeah, there we go. We've got 11 GT Challenge series debuts for those inside the top 20. This is qualifying we're seeing now, but in pre-qualifying we had more than half of the top 20 making their GT Challenge debut. That's very interesting to me, because you know I would have thought you'd need a bit of experience maybe in GT3 cars, this kind of format of racing, but apparently not. So a lot of the newcomers have done very well straight off the bat. Pastorino in a satellite racing car.
Yeah, absolutely, and whether that could be down to just.
And also, guys, if you just tell me to shut up, then I will obviously shut up.
Painstaking hours learning the cars, learning how they handle, and going out and setting a time.
Have a little bit of commentary on my own, as I call this stream, obviously.
I've attempted to set a few laps just to try and compare myself and been miles off the pace, but I'm sure with a bit of time I could get a bit closer. And that is the case for a lot of these guys. There's a lot of dedication, a lot of graft, and a lot of grinding to get those last few tenths of a second out of the car and make your way into these races like we're seeing now.
Yeah, absolutely. Nello Pastorino is on your screen right now. We're just on board with him with 9 minutes to go in the qualifying session. He came 22nd in pre-qualifying, but don't let that fool you. It was only half a second off of first place Turka Hakkinen. So, you know, all of these guys are very, very good indeed. Just that Pastorino was a couple of tenths shy of those up front, but he's coming towards the Parabolica right now, and this is all for satellite racing, of course. We'll see where it puts him, down in 29th at the moment, which is not really where the guys who have set times are. He was likely to be up towards the top 15 at the very least. We should see him pop up on the left-hand side of our screens in a few moments' time. It does not actually look like that's been the case. It maybe have a little bit of a poor lap on that occasion. 24th for him over the line. But it's Turka Hakkinen who's currently leading this qualifying session. Yumi Nisler is in second. Christian Mikel is in third, ahead of Nick De Silva in fourth. And then we go down the rest of the drivers on the left-hand side, as you can see, reeling off the names right now. But yeah, Turka Hakkinen showing that his pre-qualifying pace wasn't a fluke, and obviously we knew that before, but he's just proving it to us. It's an odd sensation going back to a circuit that you've pre-qualified on, I guess. But you know, we can take a lot from these pre-qualifying times, and you know, Hakkinen's showing, as I mentioned, that it wasn't a fluke exactly. The fact that he got the fastest time. He has gone 4 tenths quicker than this, mind you.
Audi should probably very good driving indeed, as we're seeing. Qualifying car.
Absolutely, and I was going to say, and it's like our broadcast director Ruben read my mind. I was going to say Nijovski in what was somewhat surprising 11th place, but looking at the splits coming up, maybe about to Pip Hakkinen if the third sector is the same as the first two. Purple in the first and second sectors, of course, best for the session so far. But as the track rubbers in, those times are going to fall. And yeah, as you say, another Audi coming through strong in qualifying, and. See, as Nijovski crosses the line, he does indeed go fastest of all so far. Wasn't just confirmed your personal best in the third sector, but still just enough to be a tenth faster than Turka Hakkinen.
We can't look shy here in the
absolutely, we're seeing the end of these kind of runs coming through here, because Mattia Krupi has also gone a little bit quicker there. And he is into third place, which is a great improvement on where he was in pre-qualifying at 12th position. As over the line comes David Koloksai, FSR Academy champion, about to be not reigning champion anymore because that season's about to finish. But either way, he's very quick indeed. Here's Cam Roger, organiser of FSR. Actually, that was a very nice link for Burst Esport. But 25th, you messaging me earlier a little bit about how he was struggling for pace. Ever so slightly. Some of these guys are a little bit quicker than he can go.
Nicolini in the Wanakuka.
Yeah,
Get in there.
It's an interesting point.
Get out there.
What he did mention, he gave us some very, very useful information, I would say, because he said how the Audi is very, very good in qualifying. However, it might not be quite as good in the race, and the McLaren might just edge it. So we're going to have to watch to see how this race evolves, especially the 45-minute race, the second race. You know, the McLaren could well finish, bottom end of the top 10 for the first race if it's a bit of more of a sprint affair. But, in a longer race, starting at the front, it could really go well there.
Absolutely, it just makes that disqualifying session even more important.
Look at that, like Robin Honda just needs to improve its head.
Grid position, and the McLaren does prove to be faster in a
and
race
it goes
scenario
up to
than just
P9,
trying to set hot laps
P8.
in qualifying. Then you're in a brilliant position to
in the map
carry
for
that
Mini
through and
Motorsport Porsche.
sort of take your way through the race. But
Interesting to see.
then
Porsche
they've also
here,
got to bear in mind that the top 10 from the first sprint race are going to be reversed.
GT3 cars,
Do they want to gamble a little bit on that? And will we see any drivers sort of, well, I don't
may
want to
be
say
wrong,
settling for finishing the lower end of the top 10? Obviously,
Okay, David's
still points
commentary is a
available,
bit too
but
loud.
if,
We just
if
turn it down a little
towards the
bit
end of the
so
race,
I
are they
can
just going to settle down, sort of think, okay, this will
do
towards
my
the front. I've got the more race pace in my car
commentary.
for the second race.
DMCA.
Use that to their advantage in the
DMCA,
race.
that abbreviations, they
It'll be
always
interesting to see
catch
that
me
come
out.
along as we swap over to Paul August Lana in the Bentley in P18 at the moment, but going pretty quickly there, as you can see. Purple sector through sector 1 as we're coming down towards Ascari and the end of sector 2. We'll see how this lap is unfolding. Personal best, but not best overall. Still mighty fast at the moment for Paul August Lana.
So, I do not see
Down
any
towards the
surprises
parabolic,
at
we're
the
going to
front,
see just
personally.
how
Like,
quick this time is.
apart from
Paul August
Kruppy,
Lana was 30th
every
in,
driver that is
qualifying,
up front, I
if
just
memory
mentioned
serves
in
me
our
correctly,
short
so we'll be
lineup.
looking to improve on that. Already is, of course,
Happily, I didn't finish the sentence yet, as I did not speak about
looking like he's going to be.
Who has left the server?
Let's see. As he goes over the line right now for Volante, it's going to be 16th. So yeah, just edges himself up very, very close.
Didn't
in the
just the
midfield
driver
here.
drop
he
out
made it
there?
into split 1 by what I would call 28.
Hello,
seconds,
Lexar.
so it was pretty
Check
close.
Discord.
As Yemi Nisler comes over the line for 6th place, just behind 4 Nigel Velez cars, which is quite interesting. Johan Kurjan.
Are you
coming
in
towards the
school
lines
already again?
For TX3 in the Bentley. But yeah, that's worth noting really about these teams. It's not, there's no team championship or anything like that. But the fact that there are 4 Nigel Velez cars up there has got to be a help. It's always helpful to have teammates around you for this one. We've got Hakkinen, Mikkel.
Imagine, honestly, imagine that Nito Velox roadblock there.
They're pretty
Holy
strong
shit.
in pre-qualifying actually, but they're showing themselves to be even stronger
Let me just catch a drink,
the
guys.
actual qualifying
Lots of
session
talking.
here. And yeah, very much looking forward to seeing how they get on, because they can obviously help each other.
Come on, Cameron, push it, push it.
It's not really about winning this
A
championship
10,
for GT
another
Challenge.
2
Obviously,
10s.
they'd like to, and it would be nice.
Actually, if he can keep
to
it
do that.
another
However,
10, there is a
if they
prospect
could
top
get
10
at least
position
half of
right
their
now.
drivers into GT Pro next season, that would be a huge success for Nigel Velez.
Absolutely, and having those drivers being able to be this close together in pace as well, it only means they can share setup and advice for each track they go to, and it's sort of like a collective improvement.
Oh, Papa Cameron, why?
It looks stylish. It's not particularly the fastest way to get yourself
Yeah.
around there.
Aborts the lap.
But yeah, it's sharing the setup, sharing knowledge of the car, and so on and so forth.
Yuri, where's...
improves every
I
single
heard
member of
that
team,
Daniel
so-
Kiss was
and yeah,
accidentally
I
being
feel like
assigned the
that's sort of an
Porsche, if
example of
I'm
that coming to fruition,
informed
seeing all
correctly.
4 of those
And Kiss was in
Nigel Velez
11th,
cars, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
and then there
at
was
the
another
moment.
Porsche.
And yeah, if they
Who
do
was that?
manage to make their way into GT
It wasn't
Pro,
the Stout.
they can just carry that momentum.
Was it
with them, carry
Nisula?
all the information they can
I
share.
don't think it was
work
Nisula
together
either.
and really take the fight to those that
I
are
think it was
only in GT.
Mas, Gulliam Mas in the...
Johan Yoski's just
was it
gone a little bit
Porsche?
quicker, by the way, a 44.8.
For God's sake, I
Means
can't
that he's
remember.
over 2 temps now in front of Turka Hakkinen in the front of this qualifying session. This is Diego Silva, or it was anyway. Let's have a look at Cameron Roger again. Coming through the parabolica, we mentioned the slide on the way through. We'll see. Oh, he was quite busy on the way in and midway through the corner, and on the exit as well. He had his hands
That
full there.
certainly wasn't fast.
Trying to get through out the final corner. Obviously, he commentates for rFactor.
Well, yeah, Yuri, but you know, it
or
came
quite
after
often,
all
so we'll have to
Bentleys and
kind of,
after all
take the neck just a
Audis, and
little bit,
actually,
but
I
it's
think
all
it
friendly.
came after the
So
McLaren
Diego Silva goes over the
720S as
line
well.
in 9th position. He may well stay there for the rest of this one. Here's Turka Hakkinen. He is improving, but I don't think it's going to be enough for pole position
Joski
unless he
also
pulls
an
something really
Audi. I
out the
would be
bag
surprised
here
if
quite
any
late on. Which
Nito
I
Velox
somewhat
car
doubt,
is
even
not
though
in an Audi.
he's a very good
So
driver,
top
as we
5
know.
Audi drivers.
I don't think he's quite this good. So we'll wait and see if he's had a blinding final sector, and he's not a bad one, but it was a little bit slower than before.
Joski 44.8,
He slightly
clear pole
improved, but
position.
not to the extent that he needed to.
I
Now
don't think
Rory
he's gonna
McDuff
be
is going
touched
purple
unless
in sector 1 and 2 to kind of match the accents on his car right now.
Rory
He looked to be
McDuff is pulling
at the
it
front
off.
of the field, looking back in the mirrors at everybody else. Let's see, over the line he goes. And it's
Close.
second place for the moment.
Second
1/10
place.
and a half down on
Well,
Erhani
yeah, look
Yoski,
at
but he's
that,
the
look at
second
that.
man to get into the
Nito
1 minute
Velox squad,
44
all the
bracket.
way
Over
up
the line
front.
comes Christian Mikel as well, and he gets even closer. 85 thousandths behind Erhani Yoski on this occasion, but he's
Here we
not
see
able to
Bentley.
dethrone the North Macedonian and, of course, the 2-time GT Pro Series champion, which we can't forget. He looks like he's going to take pole unless anybody can really come from behind and do something about it. There's a celebration straight into the barriers, but he doesn't care at this point. It's Erhani Yoski who's going to take
Baldwin
pole. And
in
I
the
can't say that's a big
McLaren
surprise, but
720S.
he had a good run for his money at the end there. Rory
I've
McDuff
just
and Christian
seen one
Mikel
Porsche so
especially
far.
really pulled it out of the bag at the end there.
Yeah, it's not over yet. As we're watching now, Adam Baldwin
Okay.
in the Juices Motorsports McLaren going pretty quickly in sector 1, as Jimmy Nisula as well.
Also in the 720.
Lost a
the
little bit in the
satellite.
second sector, but
Yeah.
could improve. No, does stay in P8 for Jimmy Nisula then. And,
Stepkowski was the guy in the Porsche. There you go, Yuri. Here's your
A
Porsche.
different driver. It seems like they've gone purple in sector 1, so they're finding the grip out there, but it's chaining that perfect lap together at the moment, trying to get it all.
Where are you right now, Lexar?
That's really going to be the only way that
You have
anybody's
to
gonna
go
be
in
able to
30
knock
minutes again.
Yoski off.
Shame.
A few that are just finishing off their laps now at the end of the session.
Yeah, over the line for Adam Baldwin. He goes 5th, just a quarter of a second behind. We also saw
Good laps.
Silva going over, Stepkowski, going over the line. He's 11th. Here's Johan Kurjan, and he qualified very well in pre-qualifying. 5th place in the Bentley, not able to get it hooked up really in the real qualifying though. But a lot of pressure when there's only 15 minutes to actually get your lap in.
And sector 1 on themselves.
It's a big moment, and unfortunately
will
Kurjan's not
still
been able
jump
to
some
quite produce
spots,
what he
though.
managed before. Cam
Well,
Roger
into
produces a good lap right at the
P23
end
at the
though.
very least.
From 28th to 23rd he goes up to for Burst.
But
Esport.
again,
there
it's
is
just
your
you
qualifying
need to just
for
keep
the first
it
round of the GT
clean
Challenge
around here.
Series. It's going to be Erhani Yoski who's going to be taking pole position. Nitro Velox are going to be really chasing him from behind, and they're going to be hounding him all race long. We're going to have Adam Baldwin in there. I'll tell you my performance of the qualifying so far is Zoltan Barkingi has got himself into the top, I think he's 7th place off of that qualifying session. Phenomenal effort from him. The Hungarian driver for Mugen Sim Racing, not really been on the world stage for very long, or long at all. He's often doing smaller regional races in sim racing leagues. By no means an inexperienced driver, but on the world stage we've not really seen very much of him. And here he
I
is,
think it's going
banging
to
his
be
drum
interesting
very loudly indeed in
startup,
7th
isn't
place.
it?
So yeah, well done to him. But Yoski is on pole. That's not really a surprise. Are we going to have a surprise down
That's
into
not
turn
really a
number 1? Are we
surprise.
going to get
True
through there
words, bro.
cleanly? It's the big talking point, and I guess it's what a lot of people are tuned in for, to wait and see just how this turn 1 and 2 section is going to go. It's very famous, but are we going to make it through without accident?
Place your bets, guys. Are we going to make it through without
thing to watch out
accidents?
for is Monza
I
Turn
bet
1.
no.
It's not memed over for no reason by loads of people in the sim racing community. It's Monza Turn 1. What do you expect? Of course, we saw it affect GT Pro on Monday. There was a quite a calamitous incident going into Turn 1 there. So will we see the same, or are we going to see a little bit more patience, a little bit more reservation.
Well, 10
these
minutes
guys
warm
going
up, it
into
looks
turn
like.
one, knowing what happened on Monday, are they going to be a little bit more chilled out?
Gives uns die
Gonna have to
chance.
wait and
Whoops.
see. Just got a
That
little
should
bit
not
of a
be there.
warm-up to go now
Sorry.
before we
To
are
do a little bit of office
into
work.
this.
So
Indeed.
let's have a look.
Just
Maybe
a
we
little
can
bit of
see
sorting
if
out to
there
do
is some
before we get into it.
slipstream going on there in the
Yeah, currently
GT3s in the
looking
meanwhile
at
again.
A couple of the Knights of Alex boys
Let's
who've
have a
had
look
a very,
there.
very good opening qualifying session there. Christian Mikel, the best, excuse me, the best of them. He's in second place.
I'm
will be
afraid the second
alongside
into
Yovski,
Vlog's car is a bit too
for
far
the
off.
opener of this GT Challenge season. He was the Virtual Endurance Champion.
Oh, it doesn't really look like there is any
I
slipstream, to be
I
fair.
would like to say what year it is, but it was season 7 anyway, good 6 or 7 years ago now. So he's been around for a while, let's put it that way. And he's very, very
What a shame.
experienced indeed. He's in one of those.
Hey there,
one of
Neil.
those
How you
Audis
doing?
that's been
Long
up the
time
front
no
in
see.
pre-qualifying, and now indeed in actual qualifying here. Mikel was second in pre-qualifying.
Next topic, no to
he's
what?
second in qualifying as well,
Ah, yeah,
but to a
to
different
that
man on
they
this
can
occasion,
keep it clean.
with Yovski
Top 3
sneaking in there,
predictions.
instead. But
Erhan
believe it or not,
Yovski,
this is
Rory
the
McDuff,
German's
Christian
first
Mikel.
ever GT Challenge appearance. So that's, I have to say, that's
Predictions for how many cars will be caught up in a lap 1 crash.
Statistics. He's not been in GT Challenge.
I'd say
He's,
4.
very, very, very new to this format anyway, but doesn't seem to be taking him by surprise too much at all as we watch Roland Zooks go into the pit lane. Also for Mugen Sim Racing, I see him more of a prototype driver actually, but trying his hands at the GT3s. Lots of different people on the grid actually in this season. And what I would like to say, because GT Pro obviously has moved to GTE for Season 4, how this affects GT Challenge here this season. Season 4, these guys obviously are going to make their way into GT Pro, at least 5 of them are going to make it in, on pure merit driving GT3 cars, but I just wonder if they're going to be a little bit not up to speed with the GTEs. Once they get into GT Pro, is that really going to affect these guys? The fact that they've been driving GT3s the entire time, but all of a sudden they'll have to drive GTEs for a championship. Will that be a shock to them? Will we see a lot of yo-yoing drivers, or are these guys going to be able to adapt to it? I'm not sure personally.
Are they talking about GT Challenge drivers or GT Pro drivers?
Big of a deal. Obviously, it does shake
I mean,
it up a little
GT
bit,
Pro
changing from
drivers
one
have
car to the next.
shown that they can and cannot
It does
adapt
give
at the
us a
same
nice
time.
speed development as well, going from, of course, these GT3 cars into the slightly faster GTEs. It's like a step up, as you'd see in other racing series. But I think, yes, there'll be a bit of a learning curve, but a lot of these guys have already proven that they've got the knowledge, they've got the ability to learn and adapt as they go. And yeah, while
Is the audio in the meanwhile alright
a
though?
little bit, or maybe not be quite on pace.
Quick
I think
feedback on that,
give them a
please,
little
guys.
while and they'll be straight on it, and up there with the rest of them, battling it out for positions higher up the order.
That's what we'd like to see anyway, as Henry Sinnick is making his way through Parabolica right now for Satellite Racing, who've got a couple of drivers on the list here today, along with Emu Nisula, Nello Pastorino, of course. But Sinnick, the Estonian driver, don't get many of them, but he is an Estonian driver, and making a return to GT Challenge after only making 3 event starts, 6 race starts if you want to call it that way, because we've got 2 races at an event. But
I need to quickly check
he
something.
tried his hand at GT Challenge a very long time ago, back in Season 1. I say very long time ago, it was a year or 2, but either way, he tried his hand at GT Challenge, didn't like it, but back again now for Season 4. And here's Zoltan Barking, my driver of the qualifying session, certainly for Mugen Sim Racing, getting himself right up there into the mix. Here's the format, just in case you were with us a little bit earlier on. We already had a qualifying session where the guys can go around as many times as they like, and they can go around for as many times as they can in warm-up as well, by the looks of things. We're getting themselves ready for the 15-minute sprint race. And normally you would say they'd use this time to get themselves into consistent race pace mode, which is very different to qualifying mode. But you know, you kind of need sort of a qualifying mode for a sprint race. It's a very short race, 15 minutes. It's going to be over before it's begun for some of these guys. They're going to be wondering where the time's gone, to be honest. But yeah, it's a very different feeling going from qualifying
thanks,
to a
guys.
sprint race. It's still going to be all guns blazing. Let's just hope
Right,
not all of
so
the
I
bullets are going to be
think
used into
just
turn
a
one, we'll put it
couple
that
of
way.
minutes left in warm-up.
Yeah, so
Can't wait to
turn
see
one
it.
is the one to talk about, but yeah, 15-minute sprint race, and there again, if you missed it earlier on, the road to GT Pro, showing up the promotion and demotion format, of course, top 5 from GT Challenge straight up there, and then 6 to 10 go into to the relegation group, being a race or two to decide who goes up and who stays and who goes down. And then obviously the reverse goes on at the bottom 10 as well, as we see a couple of cars get a little bit racy there. But not only do we
Lama
have
quickly
the
check
GT
something.
Pro, promotion and demotion, there is the splits throughout this season of GT Challenge as well. So obviously we can only have so many cars on the grid, but there are a lot of people chomping at the bit to be up there fighting for a place in GT Pro. Pre-qualifying determines who gets to be in this top 30 that starts on round 1 and round 2. And then it is round 3. We use the results from round 1 and round 2, and so on. The previous 2 rounds will determine
In
splits
Freakin's
for
machine.
that current round all the way through the rest of the season. So there's pressure throughout this. It's not just a case of score as many points as you can, of course. It is, you're fighting for your position in your split as well, almost throughout the time.
Yeah, it's a little bit complicated to explain, but I promise you it's not as complicated in real life. It's just hard to explain and write down indeed. But yeah, it's a simple moving up and down kind of system. But these guys in Split 1 are going to be the guys that we'll see in GT Pro next season.
So 2.5 minutes
in the top 5
until
well,
race 1.
Will be in,
We'll see the entire grid then, of
race
course,
with some
once
of the
again.
GT Pro guys as we go
He is my
on board with
favorite
the man
though,
of the
like
moment,
Erhan
Jajowski,
Jajowski.
GT
To be honest, we all do
champion
know that he
2
does
times over
should not
in
be
seasons 1 and 2.
and
However,
should not
due
belong
to
into
the-
GT
well,
Challenge,
partly
but
due
should
to the
belong
pro
to
draft
GT
system
Pro.
that we have these days,
But
the ballast,
well, it is what it is so
and
far.
all of that, he really
And
struggled
now he
last season.
needs to
I
fight
mean,
back eventually.
Desperately struggling last season for such a
Anyway,
talented driver.
we're
It
coming
was
back
almost, you felt sorry for him on occasion.
to the
I have to
racing
say, but,
shortly.
certainly back to his
Yeah, and if
old
you guys
ways right now,
appreciate the
straight back
stream
to the
tonight,
front
if
again.
you appreciate the
And,
watch party,
we're
then
expecting him to make a
show your
very quick
dedication,
bounce
show
back
your
to
support,
GT
and
Pro, really.
please
And-
follow up
and of
on
course,
Twitch,
he's gonna
subscribe
have a
to the
pretty good
YouTube
draw
channel.
in the season. I know this is a long
Come
way in the
back for
future
more
we're talking
sim
now, but
racing
in the season 5 draft,
videos
he's
and
gonna have a very good
streams
position
here
in
on
that
the
draft, and
channels.
you'd have to say if you looking at some early
But
odds,
first,
GT Pro
of
season
course,
5
we
is
now
looking pretty
enjoy
good
the
for-
evening all together.
for Jajowski, as long as he makes his way through this challenge season without too many major incidents. It shouldn't be too difficult for him to get into.
I mean,
the top
don't get
five,
me
surely.
wrong, this GT challenge,
Yeah,
like
you
the
would
top
think,
10 in
and,
a
I'm
GT
glad it was
challenge
you
could
that's-
all
that's
well
come up with
deserve
that,
be
not
in
me. I don't
GT
wanna-
Pro
I
as
don't
well.
wanna
They
pat
would
my
do
shoulders if we've
considerably
somehow
well
managed to
there.
curse him by talking that far in the
I'm
future, but,
pretty sure about that.
No, if he does manage to make his way through.
So maybe we
GT
have now
Challenge,
the
which is
chance to
very
see a
well, I think
little
will
bit
be
of
in a
how
fantastic
Slipstream
position to fight for that title,
works
try
or
and
does
reclaim
not
a
work.
third GT Pro title in season 5, but of course we have got a long way to go between now and then. 6 rounds of GT Challenge. That's plenty of racing action, as we're seeing a bit of racing action on screen right now. Adam Baldwin looking at
dear.
the inside of the
Rip.
Parabolica and getting it a little bit
Well,
wrong. But it is only the warm-up, at least learning what not to do ahead of time.
Getting out of the way now, really,
Rather
than,
no
a little
to
bit
low
later on, which
slipstream
is,
at
the right
all,
way on to do it, certainly.
sadly.
As we go on board with Danny Kish, who's just going to pull up in his McLaren right now. Interesting fact about Danny Kish, by the way, and this is another FSR related.
Different
fact, that
question
he's
though,
never
guys.
finished outside
While we're
of
still
the top
watching
10
that
in a World
warm-up, I
Championship
wanna
season, that
take
he's
the
participated in,
opportunity
should I say.
and
He's always been inside the top 10. I'm afraid that run may come to an end.
have
this
a
year.
question
It's
for
not
you
looking great
guys.
for him, but he's a very, very solid
And I
driver.
want to know
and I'm expecting another top 10 from him this season
if
actually in GT Challenge, but I'm saying that about quite
you
a lot
would
of the
be
drivers.
interesting
I was
to
looking through the
or
entry list a
interested
little bit
to
earlier on. You're thinking, yeah, they could be top 5. They could
be
be
seeing that.
pro next season, and then you realise you've got down to the
Because
30th driver,
lately
and
I'm
you said
I'm,
that
I'm
about
playing a
everybody,
little
so
game
it is I don't want to say
on
picking names out of a hat
Steam
because it is very competitive,
that
but,
has to
you know,
do
it's
with
not all luck certainly, but
production and kind of built up tycooning. You know, we could put it a little bit into a sim racing way, as you are producing electronic components. So I want to actually really get your personal opinion on it. But personally, I would like to play some kind of game that looks kind of exactly like this, and we're gonna speak about that in the break between race 1 and race 2, because there's going to be another 10-minute break, I'm afraid. So that we will dilute up to our channel and talk a little bit about future content maybe. No, Lexa, I'm afraid it is still the same, to be honest, unfortunately, but yeah, we will see. So, starting great. Actually, my top 3 of the calls are already at the front. I think Rory McDuff's gonna end up second though. We have Baldwin and the Stout in 5 and 6. Marconi, I personally do not know him, but good result in 7. Philip Joyce in 8, reasonably good. Jimmy Nisula and Diogo Silva in row 5. Then we got the first Porsche, I think, in P11. And, well, Daniel Kiss is actually in the McLaren, so not in the Porsche, but no livery there. Thomas Wack in 13th, Florent Schux in 14th, Carl Upshai in 15th, and Mas in 16th. Loads of Audi to be seen here. Panzer in 18th. I'm pretty sure he's not too happy about that, but he already reported 40 to 50 FPS only, so, well. Cameron Rocha in P23, then Nicolini in the 24th spot, so that's going to be fun to watch, to see how much he can make up the ground. Bobby and Bale, I'm a bit surprised P26. Cynic P27, that surprises me as well, as he was 11th in the overall qualifying to the GT Challenge Series. Anyway, guys, race 1 is just underway. The formation lap is going, and well, we'll see how that goes. Nice and safely. Yoski leads them off them. Well, Adam Rainey, if you got FSR 2021 grid mod, then I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, turn 1's going to be vitally important, as is the whole rest of this 15-minute sprint. Of course, was a top 10 reversing themselves. There's yeah, I wouldn't want to call who's going to win it. There's so much pace out there between every single one of these drivers. Anything can happen.
I think race 2 will be a whole lot more interesting, as the top 10 are reversed on the grid.
It's going to be an exciting one.
It's going to be really exciting, I'm afraid. Well, not afraid, I'm pretty sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, but as we've heard, the McLarens may have more race pace, so they could be coming at them the later we go through this race as well. It's not all done and dusted just because they got the fastest times in qualifying, of course. And we don't really know what to expect from the Porsches. They could be quite quick in the race as well, so as we say, anything can happen. We're heading down to the power bracket to start the race then.
Start of the race, guys. Here we go.
Around this final corner.
GT Challenge Season 4 Race 1.
We'll go green and we'll be away for the first sprint race.
How many gonna crash? I'll say 4. We're gonna see 4 cars in the dead.
Here at Monza, the grand opening of this great championship once again.
And we're racing green flag. Let's see the DRS train.
Making moves, switching to the inside line, deciding that's the safer place to be as they all funnel their way towards turn 1.
Oh dear, I see 3 wide into turn 1.
Baldwin can't find anywhere to go. Yoski on the outside line into turn 1.
Contact! Contact in the back!
Side by side through the first couple of corners.
Oh dear, and they don't show it.
In behind for now.
Barclay was involved.
Side by side as well. That's Hakkinen and McDuff battling over 3rd place already as we look behind from Yoski. It looks like it's been a very clean start there, but the Macedonian is defending again as Mikel switching
for a moment I thought he's gonna dive it down the inside there.
Yoski holds serve on the lead.
So McDuff has lost the spot.
It was a very clean start for all the leaders. I think most of the cars making it through turn 1 pretty much unscathed, which was very good.
Do we have a DNF already?
Some great racing up and down the grid as we're watching on now.
So let's see. Nikic in 22nd still standard gap.
And yeah,
the Lorma in 26th as well.
Yes, the diminution here in the McLaren showing the pace
still in 23rd.
in the race he's got here as he looks like he's pulling a long This is Roman Jakubovic now looking to pull alongside Jan Vennegar down into a Ascari.
Actually, everyone made it
Trying
through.
to take 20th place.
Surprised. It wasn't.
Oh!
Oh!
Somebody off in the background.
Cameron! No!
Spinning around just about.
I mean, P23, 0 points anyway, but if.
Yeah, not a good start to Cam Rogers' season, I'm afraid. He's battled hard to get into the top 30 in pre-qualifying.
So you will now see Erhan Yajovski disappear, but will we see Erhan Yajovski locking out the event as well? Like, undoubtedly, I think he's going to easily win this one unless he fucks up. But
we'll wait and see if there's going to be 9. But either way,
excuse the language.
Oh,
a rear wing has gone there from someone.
We're not quite sure who, just for the moment. One of the
all right, there's the first two. Nicolini. Why?
Dragan Nikic is involved, I'm afraid. One of the neutral drivers for Audi is getting underway again. He's got a bit of damage though, I'm afraid. So
sprint race here between Muss and Sux, huh?
Like the incidents haven't happened into turn 1. Indeed,
that's not Sux.
Into Parabolica,
it is Sux, but against someone else.
Try and get a replay up for you if we can.
Oh, more contact there at the front.
Having a bit of contact between Philip Dreas and Jake de Stout there as well, just in the foreground.
And Robin Panta is just waiting. Guys, what are you doing with the cameras?
Yeah, we said that
the car's behind the battling and you're not showing it.
These guys certainly got their elbows out early on.
They're still side by side.
As we say, we're expecting
hello, P16 is battling. We don't see that too often in GT3, I'm afraid.
Not the corners I would have expected to see some incidents going on, but we have seen them nonetheless.
Hey Altaman, how you doing?
All the while, Erhan Yajovski is pulling ahead now of Mikel in P2, nearly 1.5 seconds the gap, so he's really stretching the legs on that Audi at the moment out in front while we're watching all of this going on in the background. Here is the replay then. This is Cam Roger going down into Ascari.
Oh, nothing Cameron could do.
There was nowhere really he could have gone. Wheels on the grass, and at that point, you've just got no traction. You're basically a passenger. As we
hey, Jonas, hello.
Feed, watching along with Diogo Silva chasing after Jake de Stout, who's he's not had the best of starts compared to the rest of his teammates in the Nita Velik's cars. Dropped down to 7th place, coming under pressure now from the McLaren man down into turn 1. He's pulled up to the inside, thinking a bit better.
Holy shit.
For the time being, but definitely.
Who's the strongest car here? Like on the brakes, the Bentley could be considerably good and out braking people at the end of the straight.
A little bit rude. I think it was Dragan Nikic actually, who just got into the side of
yeah,
no. Leave him anywhere to go. Let's see what happened at
well, we have
though, because this was
we don't have any chin-cheek in that.
Nikic getting himself into trouble again. Actually, Nico Barkley got down his inside. Nikic trying to turn back on him. Oh, Barkley. I'm not sure if he got help there or not, but he certainly. I'd need a.
Was that arrow push though?
I'll have to have a look at this one again. Let's see if there was contact.
Nicolini lost it on himself
from that angle, but Remy Delorme got involved, and he didn't really want to be.
Oh, that is the angle we need.
From Barkley. Is there going to be contact here on the? Oh no.
Was that arrow push though?
On the exit, there was contact on the way in. Obviously, that was a barge through.
Well, David, I'm afraid our race looked way worse at this stage already.
When the cars are so compacted like that, you really can't afford to be going anywhere but straight, really, because that kind of thing can happen.
Yeah, just an unfortunate case of collecting the cars around you.
So
Sux
in
accident, and it does,
the Audi versus Kirchen in the Bentley. That could be a battle coming up.
Not everybody's perfect, of course. They're all humans behind the wheel. Mistakes
into turn 1. If Kirchen gets a good, oof.
We see that's very, very close.
Good exit out of Parabolic.
Almost climbing onto the diffuser.
That's close, but you could just make it and lunge a mega dive into turn 1. Let's have a look.
I think having to back off the way he did may have put him a little
too
bit
far
too
back.
Far out for trying to get a move.
No slipstream on these GT3 cars.
And we're taking a look by the looks of it, and no, we're going to switch now over to Roy McDuff up in P4. He's had an okay start, but he is, as we were saying before the start of the race, coming under pressure from McLaren's now. Adam Baldwin in P5, looking to stretch the legs of that McLaren, show the race pace we've heard they have, but he's not got just one Audi to get through. He's got about 3 or 4. So that was close. Very,
nice
very
catch.
Close. No love lost between these two on the road at the moment.
Very close between them. We saw Alan Baldwin going for a move at Parabolica in warm-up. We saw he was aggressive. Thought that he would never do that in a race situation, but he nearly just did there, sticking his nose in.
Yeah, no, I'm afraid to.
Chicane.
I'm afraid
It could have
that
turned a bit
is
nasty,
confirmed
actually, between
indeed.
those two. It's certainly opened up a gap towards Turk Hakkinen, and actually the gaps at the front of the field are fairly large right now. 2 seconds for the lead with the Yoski.
All right, Nexar, have a good one. Shame you didn't see my message on Discord.
And then another second and a half back to this battle involving Rory McDuff and Philip Dreas. Jake de Stout's not too far behind, just kind of waiting in the wings. But Philip Dreas is just behind this shot right now. He's really closing on Anne Baldwin, who's not fighting this. Dreas is going down the inside into Parabolica, whizzes by straight through. No arguments really.
That was a weird overtake, though. Like, quite a bit of
maybe
overspeed.
deciding that he can get him back into turn number 1, but let's wait and see if indeed that is going to be the case. Obviously, these two both in McLaren, so the straight line speed factor can be put to bed just briefly, but no real slipstream for Baldwin there. Not a good enough exit off of Parabolica, but you're not exactly short of overtaking opportunities around Monza. He is going to get another chance here.
He will be looking to try and retake that place, as we're seeing. Overtake that looked like it was going to be a hell of a dive bomb there. Robin Pansart trying to go around the outside of...
Good stuff. Keep it pushing, Robin. Keep it pushing.
Not quite able to make that happen, but it would have been a very impressive move if he'd have pulled that off. It looked like he came from miles back in the McLaren, and now he's got to watch out for Paul Loveslana behind him. Not that far back at all in another Bentley. He's in a bit of a Bentley sandwich at the moment, and that's... going to be a bit terrifying. The size of those things, is those sausage curbs are getting some real clouts from these guys as they go through the Della Rogers chicane. And this is that battle once again with Dryson Baldwin, the two McLarens. It's just going to come down to a battle of skill and setup between these guys. Who's got the faster setup? Who's got more talent, almost, because they are in virtually the same car? Who's going to be the one to finish ahead with just 6.5 minutes to go? Still plenty of time to make a move, but is it going to get done?
We'll see. Here it looks like they're fairly distant from each other right now. It's just calming down, but it's a lot of Audi and McLaren up the front of the field. I think that's fair to say. The first non-Audi or McLaren is in 12th place. It's Daniel Stopowski, who's just in front of Thomas Vack. They're both in Porsches for Mad 4 Mini Motorsport. In this race, they qualified identically almost in pre-qualifying, and then they did very nearly the same in actual qualifying.
6 minutes to go.
Joined at the hip again in the race, so they're
it's
one of them.
Oh God!
Johan Kerjan goes for a spin. He qualified so well.
We don't see whether someone runs into him.
I'm afraid his teammate goes past, and Cam Roger not quite able to go past. But, yeah, he's.
Imagine you join into Parabolica and there's someone upside down or facing you with your front cameras.
Through the Parabolica on that occasion, but not good for Kerjan. We've seen a lot of spins so far in this one, but a couple not really caused by anybody else, which has been a little bit strange. We'll pull up a replay in a few moments' time.
That's not strange. That's how it's supposed to be.
By everybody, because he was in the middle of the road, at quite a compacted part of the field, so we could have seen.
So Barkley did, Lane did, Nikic did,
we had a bit of a happier ending on this occasion.
Cameron did.
Yeah, absolutely. It was
Forecast did.
Very
I got my
and just stop it where it was.
my bet just right so far.
It's the worst feeling when you're behind the wheel and you've had a spin and you can just see car after car coming past, but there's no safe way to rejoin the track until they've all gone through. So you've just got to wait for all your rivals to pass you by. It's the worst feeling, but it was very smart decision. And here is this what happened? This is on board with Paul Loveslana coming up the inside. And it was contact.
Good stuff, Robin.
Paul Loveslana trying to slip up the inside, not able to hold
well,
going into
what to say really?
The side of the Bentley driver, and looks like
that car's dead. Yeah.
Car as well. I think I saw a moment ago. He has retired from this race, and here is from Johan Kerjan's point of view. It was contact as well with the Audi. In fact,
I think Kerjan comes a bit too far on the inside. That no one runs into him is a real miracle, though.
One of the satellite racing cars did a superb job of avoiding him there, because that could have been a hefty incident.
Then your kiss on the inside.
On the inside of Diego Silva into turn
late on the brakes. Can he make it stick? Contact.
Sorry, kiss on the inside line. but it's not yielded.
Noise is going to be a re-battle into turn 4.
But, is it going to be enough for the Hungarian to get through on silver? They go through the curve.
Baba Cobra doing goodie.
We'll wait and see into
Enjoying GT Challenge Madness. Here they come, here they go. Kiss on the outside line. Can he do it?
Outside line this time around, and nothing really.
Can't make that side by side, can you? Yeah.
No, not quite. And this is going to leave the door wide open for Jimmy Nisela to try and get through. And here comes Otton Varkingi as well, down the inside of Nisela, who had to check up to make sure he didn't get into the back of the McLaren. And Varkingi shoves Nisela out wide and says, "This is my 10th place because that's going to be
racing
an
car."
important
Oh, don't lose it!
This is going to be a fierce battle.
I've seen 80 noises appear in my head.
It's so important for the rest of this event.
Absolutely right, and Jimmy Nisela is now coming back at Varkingi down as we head towards Ascari. He's going
McLaren slipstream, top speed galore.
Just about giving him
Oh,
room,
oh, no. Oh my god, now the Porsche is going to join the party.
Taking that position for now, and now Varkingi behind him as well. See the Porsche man pulling alongside, and this is a brilliant.
They're going to crash. I call it. They're going to crash. Oh my god.
Feature race.
Oh, that's a big dive from the Audi down the inside from Varkingi. And you've got great mid-corner traction as well. Not so good
later
from Spalski, who's sliding about all over the place. We're on board with him at the moment.
Now Aero push. Or will they go 3 wide into turn 1?
Again, and he's going to be getting a fantastic
no way.
slipstream, although doesn't look to quite have the straight line speed of the
what
Audi
a train.
And the Porsche around him. Let's wait and see into turn number 1 again, stamping on the brakes as you can in these GT3 cars, and it's Nisela who's going to come away with 10th place for the moment. 2 laps to go, including this one, but yeah, fantastic racing in the midfield. This is the kind of thing that a reverse grid brings you. Not only does it put the leaders towards the back, but it gives you these great fights in the preceding race.
We haven't seen a reverse grid yet, did we?
We're jumping on board with a replay now of this battle that was going on. You can see the 2 McLarens going at it down into Della Roggia up ahead of us, and Nisela's just going to be...
Oh, it just drives into the rear and like...
That's what slowed him down, I think, as we headed down into the first Osmo, and then Zoltan Varkonyi, yeah, he was just like, thanks, I'll have that. That 10th place is mine now. Of course, he didn't keep it for very long as we headed down towards Ascari, but...
yes, more drama!
Warning shot to Nisela to say, yep, I'm here, and if you keep making mistakes and little mess-ups like that, I'm going to have that position, and yeah, Varkonyi now having to watch behind him in his mirrors as Massa is looking to try and steal a position away from him as well. Just having to back off a bit through Ascari, but this battle for 11th is really hotting up as we come towards the end of this sprint race. You feel like any one of these 6 cars could finish in any order, even though there is only a lap to go.
I don't know, Baba Cobra. I don't know if that happens, then well, that is out of my experience with a competition system. Oh, that Audi goes wide. Rip. Position gone. Where is he? There you go. Now the Porsche is gonna come.
Powering past.
He did that to.
Is he gonna take the both of them?
But now here comes Stopalski with some fantastic straight line speed. The Porsche looks like it might get both Audis into turn 1 inside line, but later on the brakes there for Guillaume Massey.
Contact and dead.
Goes spinning around into the gravel. He's got no
good job, Robin. 13th spot.
Without ruining everybody else's race, so the train has to come on by, and that's such a shame for Guillaume Mass. Somebody might get into trouble for that, because it's a little bit of a controversial incident. We'll wait and see, and we might get a replay of it as well to show you, because it's a very much talked about incident with the stewards, and obviously you at home as well, putting in
Jakubovic with a penalty. Where is he? P17.
Getting very, very close.
Too bad.
It was hotting up very nicely, but I'm afraid it's ended up with Guillaume Mass spinning around, and we're still waiting to see his name on the left-hand side to see where he's ended up here. Here's Daniel Stopalski trying to make the move up the inside. Now, does he get rear-ended here? Does he spin? Oh, he gets on that curb, and once you
what
kind of
to say, really?
With your car, then it's kind of hard to save it.
At all the time, you have to leave the space.
A little bit of a difficult situation for everybody there, but this is what's left of the battle.
Come on, Robin, push. Final lap.
Oh,
that went quick.
3
seconds gap for Michael. McDuff 4th. I thought he was going to be 3rd, but
of the GT
Honestly, that
Challenge
top 5 in
Series
reversed
season
order
4 here
is
at
going
Monza.
to be
3
madness
seconds in front
for
of Christian Mikel, Turka Hakkinen
the main
and Roy
race.
McDuff. The Nitro Velix guys coming in 2nd, 3rd and 4th, which is not bad at all, but still in the wake of the
Shame, Robin.
two-time Pro Series champion.
Could have
Jimmy
been
Nisler comes
13th,
out of the line in
12th.
10th. He'll be on pole for the next race, but we didn't see very much of him at all, Haniowski, but it was an absolute clinic from him. No faults in anything he did in that race at all.
Yeah, you don't get to be two-time GT Pro champion for nothing, I suppose. Just showing exactly why he has those titles in this opening sprint race. And we'll get to see the racing part of it in the next race, of course, because he'll be starting from P10 come the feature race. So that'll be very, very interesting to watch. There is the
So there you go.
the
results.
Finishing first with the 3 of the Nitro Velix cars: Christian Mikel, Turka Hakkinen, and Roy McDuff in 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Philip Dreiss managed to get himself up to P5 with Adam Baldwin not able to get that position off him come the end of the race, having to settle for 6th. Then it's Jake Stout in the other Nitro Velix car in P7, Diogo Silva for GT Race Centre in P8, Daniel Kish.
No huge surprises so far in the top 10, to be honest.
For the feature race for Satellite Racing, finishing the sprint race in P10. So that is almost the reverse grid, and then further back, starting the next race where they finished, Thomas Vac for Matt Firmini in P11.
Robin qualified 18th, I think, and Cameron was 23rd, if I remember correctly. So Stepkowski keeps a point so far. Who did he spun round though?
Misunderstanding.
Was it Sooks?
Slight correction. So the
No, it was Guillaume Mas.
The top 10 for that gets
No points there.
reversed for this feature race, not the result we've just seen.
So while we're checking out the break here right now, we come back on the topic that I asked you guys for about the Good Company game. So that is the game actually.
And a case is the other thing, right?
Where you have to produce stuff. You can see cases, batteries, displays, loads of small kind of gadgets here around. Like those are the batteries, LED strips. And then you have to put them together to proper products, and we could do a sim racing kind of thing from that. So calculator for strategies. You can, I think, design some Walkmans, so that could be proper headphones. Then obviously you can do consoles as gaming and stuff. So that could be our sim, our platform and stuff like that. We could kind of do a sim racing edition out of that. Basically what you need to do is you buy goods, those down here, so chemistry, PET, and then you build up modules, and then you put the modules together with more raw materials together to a finalized product, and then sell it out on the market and go through the market, do research new components and that kind of stuff. But despite this game looks quite simple and actually is also built in a quite simple way, it kind of hooked me up, so I find myself playing it a lot lately. When just hanging out, when just chilling out after practices, after practice analyzation have been done, when you cannot just be asked to do more driving, or whether it just would be inefficient. At times you need to get your head sorted and your head clear, like whether you lie out there in the pool or whether you're doing some different things. So my question to you guys, would you be interested in watching such a casual gameplay stream? And fair enough if you don't, but just wanted to get your idea out, or your thoughts.
Much to look forward to.
As we come back to
Is.
GT Challenge,
And,
obviously
don't
race
forget
2
these guys
is
all
on the way
racing for points
shortly,
and racing for the GT Pro Series.
and I think
next
I really
season.
think it's gonna be a
And of
fun
course
thing
you
to
can
watch.
catch the next round of the
Like
GT
this,
Pro Series next Monday, so not in 3 or
Second
4
race
days time.
is going to be
but Monday after that. The next
spicy,
round of the GT Pro Series will be on from
as
Sebring, and then the Friday after that
Haniowski
will
will
be
start
on
from 10th position.
with the GT Challenge race here once
will be
again.
interesting
Then
racing,
we
I
head
guess,
into Lime Rock Park and
as
Loch
they
Drummond for a
surely
little bit
make
of an
their
odd
way up to the
mid
front.
part of the season. A couple of odd circuits that these guys aren't very used to, I wouldn't have said. Here it is. Yeah, that's going to shake things up. Certainly, never boring. There can be no doubt about that. And then Spa-Francorchamps and Indianapolis, 2 classics to end it off in this season. They're very much 3 distinct parts to this season for me. Kind of Monza and Sebring part where we kind of open things up. Monza often used.
I guess I grabbed myself a coffee.
In GT series in real life, and Sebring often used early on in the year as well for the motorsport calendar. And then, as I mentioned, a couple of those circuits that people won't be as used to. Always fun to go to those kind of circuits though, because they're not so methodical and not so drilled into how you're supposed to go racing around there, which is always fun for us, if not for the drivers. And then Spa and Indianapolis, everybody's going to know their way around there. There can be no doubt about that one in anybody's mind. So yeah, it's going to be a good season. There can be no doubt about that. I just hope there's going to be somebody to challenge Hanyovski for the title and for those spaces up in the top 5. I know we're talking about it like he's won the series already, but you know, he's looking very, very strong in this opening.
To be honest, there has much to happen for him not to win it.
Yeah, he's looking like every bit the 2-time champion in the GT Pro Series that he is. But you know, we've got some promise further behind. Yeah, over a championship, you never know how it's going to evolve. And we've got some promise from some of those a little bit further behind to maybe challenge him for this title. Of course, those top 5 spaces are going to be very hard fought for.
Absolutely, yeah, they definitely will be. And we could see some rising stars throughout the season as well. Of course, we're talking about the names we know. Sort of the likes of Yuto Hakkinen and Yuyovsky, who we're expecting good results of. But when it comes to rising stars, anybody could sort of find their pace throughout the season. Of course, this is just the first race of a 6-race season, and there could be all kinds of nerves or anything behind there that once the season gets going and they get a bit more comfortable, they could really start to show what they're capable of as well and take the fight to these guys. So it could evolve as we go on, and we could see anybody taking the challenge to them in the GT Challenge as the season goes on. As you can see, the race format just in front of you there. We've had the 15-minute qualifying, we've had the 15-minute sprint. We are about to start the 45-minute main race very shortly with the qualifying top 10 first. And
we'll get in there.
So that does
Can't
mean
wait.
We'll see Hanyovski starting from P10. Very much out of position from what we saw in the previous race, where he did do lights to flag, and all the work to be done for Yuyovsky now in this main race.
Yeah, David, he qualified in 18th.
It's going to be a real
as
true
far as I'm
chess
concerned.
test, excuse me, of who's going to be kind of the best on this grid, because you know, it's in my opinion, obviously it's very difficult to go fast anyway, but it is a little bit more difficult. It's a different skill, let's say, to cut your way through the field, like we sometimes don't see the great champions really doing. I know there's a lot of discussion about reverse grids in F1 and things like that, but you know, we don't often get to see the very best drivers cutting their way through the field. We sometimes do, but it's a rare event, and you know, it's something we don't see very often, as I mentioned. But we'll be seeing it every week here. Well, not every week, every 2 weeks, but you see what I mean. We'll be seeing it every round here in the GT Challenge Series and indeed in GT Pro.
Effectively, we see it every week, everywhere.
Yeah, just
in
over 5
GT
minutes
Pro, in GT Challenge, Formula Challenge,
indeed.
Formula Pro.
We'll get it all underway for the main race. And here we are on board once again. We're running through a couple other drivers. Cam Roger, who is in,
still 5
in
minutes
the
of
Audi,
warm up.
23rd after the first race, I think.
Sergio, League of Legends.
Before the event,
I'm a
he would have
noob in
taken
League
it,
of
but
Legends.
given the circumstances it
Like,
came
for
under,
real.
he might be a little bit disappointed, especially with the way the
I haven't
incident
played
went
it for
around. I
ages.
really don't think it was his fault, personally.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's definitely shown he's got the pace to do better, and so has, as we flick very nicely onto Paul Auguslana, who of course got caught up in that incident towards the end of the sprint race, wound up not actually finishing the sprint race because of that as well. So he's definitely going to be out to prove what he can do.
You want to see me suffer and being bad?
That Bentley would show.
I don't think that what
striking
people
over
make.
that Bentley, actually, with the bright blue and the lime green accents. I didn't quite like that. On the Volante car.
It is quite good, yeah. It's a very striking livery indeed. excuse me, got himself involved in that incident. Let's not forget, as you mentioned, in the first race, the only driver not to finish the first race here at Monza, got himself involved with Johan Kurjan. I have to say, again, it's again my opinion.
Matthias, how about you?
Again, but into the parabolica there, I really think
like
he went
a
in
pig,
steaming in a little bit too much. I think he
check
should
if
have been a little bit more cautious
already
on the way, especially the way the battle was developing between Kurjan and Varkingi and all those guys. You know, he really went steaming in at full pace, and I don't think he really needed to do that, because not only did he ruin his own race, but he actually gave damage to well, I didn't give damage to, but he certainly damaged the race of Johan Kurjan in the end, and I think it was very, very avoidable indeed.
Yeah, I think you're right, and patience, of course, is one of those very, very important things in racing. It's I think with the 15-minute sprint race, perhaps there is a little bit less of being patient, knowing the clock is running down ever so, from just 15 minutes. It doesn't give you a whole lot of time to actually get moves done, so that a little bit of impatience if you think, I'm faster than them, I need to get past them all my race through. But I know that we'll probably see a little bit more sort of patience and waiting out with this feature race being 45 minutes rather than 15, 3 times the length, gives you 3 times the time to make your way up to the position you're capable of, and plenty more time to sort of plan your attack and learn how your opponent's sort of driving in front of you and where their weaknesses are, and any sort of
hello, Burger.
That Cynic.
Wait, what?
And a slidey through a Ascari. It looks very, very fun.
Yeah, big troll rate.
Seeing the car
like,
slide through a Ascari, just carrying as absolutely much speed as they can.
5 rate.
There does seem to be a lot of sliding going on.
66655.
Cars. We often see almost emotionless.
Interesting.
These
Is
cars.
that really?
They don't really seem to have
Either
any
way, thanks
character
so
in
much
real
for the
life
rate,
anyway.
guys.
But certainly
enjoy
some,
GT Challenge Madness.
A little bit of a kick to them. Some of these corners, especially the Audi, I've noticed over the years, it seems to be a little bit on edge on occasion, which is all very good in a sprint race, but would you really want to cope with that over an endurance distance? I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, should we have a couple of stats while we're waiting? Just under 2 minutes in warm-up right now, and we're getting towards race 2 here. It's the first time we've ever been to Italy in the GT Pro or Challenge series. We've never had a race in Italy up until now, so I can't give you any facts on that, but just a couple of facts on Erhan Yayoski, who's very, very good and has just won another GT Pro / Challenge race. He's had 8 GT Pro Series race wins in the past, including 5 in Season 2, on his way to winning the championship in a season where he only finished outside the top 10 once, but that's his 9th GT Pro or GT Challenge victory, and I'm not entirely sure, and I would have to go and fact check this, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Answers on a postcard if you can confirm this or not, but he could well be the first driver to win a race in GT Pro and GT Challenge in the history. Has anybody won a race in both?
Yes!
I'm not entirely sure.
That's
there might be an obvious one I'm missing, in which case I'm very sorry, but he might be. He's certainly one of the very few to have done it, and back to winning ways for the first time since the first race in Indianapolis back in Season 2, which is a good 7-8 events ago now. So back to winning ways, but it's not like Yoski's not been winning in other places since then. Of course, he's very, very good indeed.
I am one of those, so not the. Well, I don't know. I don't think I'm the only one, but
final seconds of warm up then, and the second race is beckoning. Do you really think there's going to be a little bit more restraint in this race rather than the last one? Because 45 minutes in the grand scheme of things isn't that long either. I know it's supposed to be a main feature race, and it is 3 times as long, but it's not massively long compared to some of the races. We'll talk about that in a few moments' time. But the starting grid is going to be coming up rather shortly, so we'll just make sure we run you through that first of all. Silver, I think, is going to be important this time around because of the reverse grid sensation that we have on this occasion. We've got Erhan Yayoski lining up 10th.
Okay, enough of
already. Christian
now.
Mikel's going to be back there with him, and further towards the front, we're going to have guys like Diogo Silva, I think.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining, guys.
Training to remember who came 10th in qualifying, but I've already forgotten, even though it was about half an hour ago.
I can't wait to get this
I have already forgotten,
back on track, really.
Yeah, anyway, they're going to be... They're going to be coming up soon
grid
anyway.
for race
on pole
2.
and on the front row, indeed. You see me,
Is the audio still fine, guys?
In 1 and 2, so Tim Varking is
Put that
in third position.
lower. So Nisula and Dries at the front, fairly interesting.
In fourth place. Nice mix of
row 3 will battle hard, and then we have to watch out for Hakkinen, McDuff, Mikkel,
then Roy McDuff and Christian Mikkel. To round out the top 8, then we've got Haniowski in 9th. Diego Silva's in 10th for whatever reason.
Who's missing?
Excuse me. Daniel Stopalski is in 11th, ahead of Danny Kish in 12th. Thomas Mack is 13th.
Well, rest is as we had it before, so we got Robin in 18th.
For one move,
and Cameron Roger in 23rd.
On this grid, I might add. Then we've got Johan Kurjan in 17th, ahead of Robin Panzoy, Jan Wenginger, and Paul August line up 20th to round out your top 20 for the second race. Then we've got Roman Jakubic, Dragan Nikic, Cam Roger, and Nico Barkley, your next 4. That's rows 11 and 12 in this race. Then getting towards the bottom 5, Remy Delorme, Fabien Bolle, 2 satellite racing cars again, Henry Stenick, Nello Pastorino, 27th and 28th, and then we've got João Asensio rounding out the bottom of your grid. A little bit longer of a race, but yeah, we might even see more action because of the faster drivers being a little bit further back. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it might be a combination. Like I was saying, it's we might see.
There we go. Finally, racing. We're on the way again.
Knowing they've got that little bit longer, albeit not huge amounts, 45 minutes, as you say. In the grand scheme of things, isn't a huge amount of distance. It is 3 times the length of the sprint race, so they might bear that in mind and not. We might not see so many like heroic dives into Parabolica or Del Roger or the Retafilio chicane, for example. But yeah, there is still going to be that element of urgency with some of the faster guys. Try and clear them out, especially for this man we're riding on board with now.
6-car crash on turn 1. Well, certainly the cars are way heavier now.
And I wonder if there may be a little bit of extra teamwork between those guys, trying to hold Erhan Yuyovski back just to give themselves a better chance of moving forwards. If they may sacrifice 1 or 2 of their drivers' race just to try and hold Erhan Yuyovski up, because it could happen, it may not happen. We'll have to wait and see. But the main goal for Erhan Yuyovski is to clear all of those cars, all those ones you see in front. He wants to get past them. And the final one he'll need to pass will be this one here for Satellite Racing, Jimmy Nishula, as we make our way.
I guess this time there is going to be a pile up in turn 1, yes.
Race.
We do indeed. Let's see how it goes with some not unfamiliar names, but they certainly weren't up towards the front in the first race. Let's see if they can hold their own indeed in this one. How's the strategy going to play into it as well? That's something to note as well. And we'll talk about that as we get into the race. But here we go again, GT Challenge Series Race 2.
There's a huge gap in row 3.
The reverse grid race. How is this going to play out with Jimmy Nishula in control of the field? The green flags are waving.
Wow,
It's a fantastic
that is a jump start.
Varkingi, who gets himself on the outside line. It's 4 wide for the lead. Oh my goodness me, into turn number 1.
Baldwin did a jump start, not gonna lie.
He's got an unbelievable start, and it looks like he might well take the lead. Philip Drace is on the inside, but not for much longer.
Does he make turn 1 though?
Deuces Motorsport Club man makes it into the lead. A couple of knocks in the background, but not too much in the end. Baldwin to the lead then with Dreas in second. Varkingi and Nissela have had a terrible start.
I want to see that start again.
Especially Nissela, who is on the front of this grid. He's dropped 4 places in the first chicane. Can he make any
big
back?
Brain move.
Let's wait and see. Philip Dreas gets nearly down the inside of Adam Baldwin. Not quite. Here comes
Nissela.
Nissela.
What a
though.
dive.
A bit of a recovery drive already here. 4th place. Not a good start for him, despite that overtake on Varkingi.
3 Nito Velox cars all around themselves.
Into the lead on the first
Yovski already on the outside there.
Now just looking to recover from that start
of Michael.
And yeah, everybody cleanly through the first few corners as well. I don't want to jinx it, touch wood, it stays this way, but very clean driving as well with all the battling we've got going on so far.
So now I'm fairly interesting to see
in the top 10, you've got
who's going to make his way up to the front.
Alex boys, we've got some yellows. I think that was somebody going off a little bit through the
McLaren versus McLaren at the front is going to be interesting.
Earlier on in the lap, has fallen back behind him for the time being, but with eyes are focused at the moment on this man, Yumi Nishila, who had that not so great start.
Someone
and
went
looking
really
a little
wide
further
there.
down, actually, Baldwin coming
Need to
under
watch
pressure
out for
from Dries as we
penalties,
head
I
down
think.
towards the parabolica. Here we are riding on board with Philip Dries then, trying to find a gap to throw himself into to get past Baldwin and into the lead.
Baldwin struggled out of parabolica, I think.
Now taking a look on Varkonyi, who's also not had a great start. So there's racing all the way up and down the top 10 already. So much for
well,
that
there's
straight
literally
I
no
thought we might
slipstream,
see.
as you can see.
Varkonyi's not had a good start, but more to the point, his pace is not really on it right now compared to his qualifying, for example, and indeed at the early part of his first race. Look at this all fanning out behind. Goodness me, into turn number 1.
Wow,
on the
squirrely
outside
on the
line.
brakes
It's
there.
difficult when you're both in the Audi,
Yayovski, can he make the move
McDuff
stuck?
go side by side through
Looks
turns
like,
1 and 2. Sorry, that's Christian Mikel.
They're still side by side.
Who's just waiting in the wings up in front, but Erhan
So that's
Yayovski
the
gets
first
up
spot
in
gained.
front for the
7
RAG
to go.
Esport team. 8th place then for the race 1 winner, with Daniel Stopowski not too far behind, watching and looking at that Porsche. Fantastic in a straight line, challenging Christian Mikel again into the second chicane, but not able to do anything on that occasion. Let's take a look at some replays as we get on to this one. The green flag is going to be waving here in a few minutes' time, but Adam Baldwin, look at this. He gets an absolute slingshot and straight to the lead. Unbelievable start from him.
I don't think that was
legal. He was going backwards there. He was getting completely mugged off going down towards turn 1. And you're right, Adam Baldwin with that absolutely incredible slingshot up into the lead of the race, where he still sits for now. As we take a look now at the battle for 6th, with so many cars involved, all the way down to 11th place, trying to pip their way up through the grid. We're taking a look at the moment, of course, with Silva, who's got Stopowski in front of him in the Porsche, and everybody using as much of the track as they can.
Well,
coming
let's
out
see,
of
Dries are still considerably close to the front.
Trains coming down, and that was very close there with Varkonyi.
Yeah, that should be, yeah, no. I call a jump start as well.
On each other.
Dries too far back out of parabolic, I'm afraid, again.
Kuryan, who's up behind Diogo Silva, and that is a new fastest
although he got
from
a bit better of a run, but
out there
it's not going to be enough, is it?
See Johan Kurjan, who's making Diego Silva defend, and that was very close indeed, but it's the outside line for the
Bentley
brakes on the
brakes
brakes.
later.
He's going to be able to pull it up in time. Yes, he is, and he's going to have to muscle his way through on Silva, who's not letting this go
and
very
Daniel
quickly.
Kiss.
And indeed, Kurjan does get into 11th place.
Trying to capitalise on that
too. Not give Silva a rest at all here. Round the outside through the Curva Grande is not the best place.
You see how weak that slipstream of the car ahead is. It's unbelievable. Contact!
And that could have been more disastrous than it was, but there's still a little bit more into the next chicane.
Yeah,
and here
push
comes
them off.
David
Later.
As spinning around goes Danny Kish. Oh dear, into the second, or out of the second chicane, I should say. He goes spinning around. That was getting very aggressive between the two McLarens, and you have to say that you felt it was coming.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. It was. It's one of those corners where.
Yeah, no, I don't think there are.
Squeezed a little bit, and that's exactly what happened to Danny Kish, who was out on the gravel, and at that
so
point,
Dries has now
really
a chance to do a nice slingshot. He's considerably close now.
Not to collect anybody else on the way through.
Sadly, it bumps a bit too much on the exit curve, but he's certainly closer to Baldwin than before.
Back to this battle for the lead. Philip Dries once again coming back at Adam Baldwin then. In the
nice brake check.
Trying to get close, can't quite for the parabolica, but he's going to keep it as close as he can. Try and get the slipstream down towards turn 1. Once again, you can see the different lines they're taking through there. Philip Dries trying to get a bit more of a slingshot down the main straight. We go then. And you can see just how close it's getting between the battle for the lead. You can see a little bit of weaving there from Adam Baldwin, trying to break the toe. Philip Dries sticking right with him now, though, as we head down towards the first corner.
Yeah, you need to put a dive in at some point.
So he's going to have to sit
there. It was too early, of course.
He's definitely making his presence known.
So you see no slipstream. Also, Yayovski stuck. Certainly could race quicker.
I know there's a lot of weaving going on, but to me, doesn't look too interested in going through. Now, this was getting very aggressive between the two of them, Silva and also Danny Kish here. Now, I'm not entirely sure. Well, just getting on the gravel, trying to get the power down, and Koloksai was quite lucky.
How lucky was Koloksai?
To get away with that. Could have been disastrous for him, and he could have been sent spinning around as well. But I'm afraid Koloksai was the only one who was... not Koloksai, excuse me, Danny Kish, I'm getting them mixed up. Danny Kish was the only one who lost out, and he's a DNF now, I'm afraid, from this race, joining 2 others from the 28 that actually got onto the grid.
Dries is quicker
race.
though.
I'm afraid
Not gonna
3
lie.
of them are now gone, including Kish, who I just mentioned there. So let's take a look at some of the other replays. Here's from Danny Kish. He squeezed Silver a little bit into the chicane, I have to say, but then he got squeezed a little bit more, and then I'm afraid lost it on the exit because he was on the gravel, and that was the end of his day. So yeah, just getting a little bit too aggressive, not showing enough restraints, you have to say.
So I'm gonna call it Dries needs to be below 310s on the exit of Parabolica.
Well, just looking at that, if I'm
to have a go.
If I'm Coloxide, I'm buying a lottery ticket at that point. He was so close to getting
like as close as Yayovsky right now is on McDuff.
You could see it looked like there was millimeters between his rear wing and that McLaren coming across the road.
Yayovsky's gonna have a chance for a move here now.
We're now checking out our race 1 winner, and Yayovsky trying to carve his way through the field. He's got past one of the Knight of Alex cars. He's got another one in his sights as we head down towards turn 1, taking a look at
no slipstream again. Noise.
This is the restraint.
It's nothing
I
he
think
can
going
do.
out a little bit now, knowing he's got the time to build up the pace, find his time, and just get that move done. And
I wonder if he's running more rear wing than McDuff at the front.
if he wants to win this race as
Because
well.
he was. It felt actually it was closer out of Parabolica than on the braking zone.
Minutes as we go back to this race for the lead, which I think is going to be going on for quite some time. Adam Baldwin is definitely one of, if not the fastest driver out there at the moment. Philip Dries sticking with him though.
No, Dries is way quicker. Way more consistent on the lines and on the general driving there.
See, that gap's been pretty much the same for the last few laps. Philip Dries trying to find a gap as we head down towards
those GT3s produce though enough dirty air to just get the aero upset enough
to overtake into Ascari. So I'll be surprised if we see a move. He may just try and follow through as close as he can, get the best.
Yeah, well, Yanni, I'd say so too, but
he's a little bit risky.
I mean, there was no overspeed, was it?
Still not really showing too much intent to actually make a move here, although he does seem to have good straight line speed here, Philip Dries. Both in McLarens, as we've already mentioned, so there isn't much to choose between them in that respect, but there may well just be that one little moment.
Now he could be close enough. At least he's loads closer than before.
Dries, and this might be the opportunity now. Under 3 temps as they came out of the Parabolica. It's not going to be anything like that. As they get down towards turn 1, we can see gaining on this onboard camera. Baldwin very content on defending at the moment. Dries fakes to the inside. Baldwin lets him have it into turn 1. They get very close. Baldwin gives him the room and they fight. There's contact between the leaders. Dries holds it nicely and he actually gets the lead fully sideways. But into the lead for Philip Dries. So needracing.com to the front ahead of Juice's Motorsport Club right now, but things are not settled between them. They go through the Curva Grande and they're still fighting it out. Is Baldwin going to go for the inside this time? Not quite. He's on the outside line. He's into the back of this fellow McLaren. And he still can't get through. Let's take another look. Coming down into turn 1. Dries just about had the room to get down here. And in the end, just about gave enough room to Baldwin as well. It was a good slide and a fantastic move, especially to watch for us. It was brilliant, but very, very skillful indeed. Philip Dries is now in the front. However, he's letting those guys in the background now kind of gain on them again. The gap was nearly 3 seconds before, and it was edging down towards 2 there.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once when you get the race leaders squabbling like this, it does start to cost them both lap time, and that allows everybody else to sort of reel them back in, and suddenly your 2-car battle for the lead will become a 3 or 4-car battle, and then it gets really, really spicy as we hop on board now with Jimmy Issa trying to chase after the stout just ahead of him, of course.
Nisula should have a chance to put a move on the stout.
Starting this race on pole,
look at, like, the McLaren is a good bit faster on the straights. The question is, can it run that low over rear wing?
As well before setting his sights on Baldwin and Dries out front. He's been slowly closing this gap for a little while now, I think, trying to, again, pick his place and get the move done. We've heard, of course, we were saying earlier on from Cameron Roger, the McLaren does have more race pace than the Audi, so
what is wrong with that gap? Are they even showing the live picture?
After the Knight of Alex Audi in front.
Let's not forget that let's not forget that Just started a long way behind Nisula and is making his way up through the field. Nisla's trying to defend
Nicolini
more in
replay.
this occasion as
Oh,
Nico
no.
Barkley. Oh, this is a big spin around on lap 1 here into Ascari, and that's what spelled the end of his race with Nello Pastorino, I want to say. But certainly it was indeed Nello Pastorino who was involved there, so they're both, well, they're not both out of the race. Nico Barkley is out of the race, and Nello Pastorino's just a long way back. And Dragan Nikic is also out of the race, I'm
Where is
afraid
Robin and
to say.
Cameron?
Down there in 28, so yeah, 25 cars remaining circulating on the track right now, and this is the battle for third, by far the most interesting battle. But ever since he got through here, Jake de Stout has not really got anywhere. He's been able to overtake a couple of cars off the start, and then this is Yumi Nisula getting through, and him kind of naturally.
Yeah, Yoski got by McDuff. How did that happen?
He's not really making much progress after that. Maybe a little bit too much mirror watching, not entirely sure.
Let's see if Yayovsky is... he's gonna close in on
he's
hacking
getting a little
soon.
bit
And
antsy knowing that he's got
effectively,
Yumi
or
Nisula behind him.
arguably, Yayovsky's
that could be
move shall
affecting
now
his pace,
go
as
up
you say.
much more easier.
He's trying to keep an eye on the car behind and focus on what they're doing perhaps a little bit too much. It is allowing Grice and Baldwin to rebuild that gap that came down a little bit from the squabbling they were doing earlier on. And that means if they do go back to fighting again, which I'm sure they will before the end of the race, there'll be plenty of space for them to do it. As we take a look now at Yayovsky. There's going to be a move up alongside another one of the Knight of Alex cars. It is down into the parabolic and later on the brakes, and that is slam dunk. Thank you very much. I will have that position. So just able to be so much later on the brakes. That was then. And Yayovsky getting past Rory McDuff up into P7. So that's 2 of the 4 Knight of Alex cars he's managed to make his way past. He's making some reasonably quick work of those guys at the moment.
He is. I'm kind of surprised that Knight of Alex aren't putting up more of a fight here. And speaking of putting up a fight, Jan Weng was giving.
Oh boy, Cameron isn't that group.
At least I think that's who's driving the Bentley just in front for the moment. It is indeed. Oh, and off the road for Lan through Lesmo 1 and Lesmo 2 a little bit more well, I'll say that. And he's into the gravel again, but no harm really. It certainly seems that the top 15 are kind of running away from these guys, and the front of the race is getting away from them just ever so slightly.
I think the
choice
livery is a bit boring,
a bit more there, and I thought the advantage for Knight of Alex was going to be the fact that they had so many cars up there meant that they could defend and help each other. You know, these 3 behind would help Jake de Stout and hold Yayovsky back for as long as possible, but they're not really defending at all here. That's another one he's just dispatched of now. Yayovsky's into 6th. Serka Hakkinen was on the outside line there and wasn't really interested in covering the inside at all, which is quite shocking, really, as they go down towards turn 1 as well.
They're just
Hakkinen,
smart.
again,
They know they have no
interested
chance.
in getting back through, so either there's some kind of strategy
Yayovsky is on league on
here
his
at
own
Knight
in
of
this,
Alex,
in this
they're
series.
just bizarrely not defending from one of their main rivals, which I would find very, very peculiar.
Yeah, I'm wondering
It's
if
just
there may
smart
be a
to not
difference in
battle
fuel
that.
loads between them. Obviously, with the mandatory pit stop, we could see that sort of thing playing out. Whether they realise at this point that Yayovsky's maybe carrying a little bit less fuel, which is going to hit a little bit earlier, take on more fuel towards the end of the race. We'll have to wait and see. But
is there mandatory pit
Yayovsky's
stops?
definitely found his favourite place around this Monza circuit at the moment. It seems to be under braking.
We are looking.
He's got past at least 2 of the cars behind him now, at the exact same place under brakes. So he's definitely found his favoured position, and come the end of the race, if the Knight of Alex guys manage to get back ahead with a strategy from pit stops or one way or another, that's something they can bear in mind. They've seen him pull his move off now a few times on their drivers. They know where to defend harder from, so showing your hand super early may not be the best case around here. As we take a look back for this battle for the lead once again, Adam Baldwin trying to reel Philip Grice back in down the straight towards the Parabolica. The gap expanded a little bit for a little while between these two.
So Grice and
Adam
Baldwin
Baldwin's just
certainly
trying
the
to bring it down
fastest
little
car
by
out of the
little
track
and
currently.
retake
I think
the
the
fight
only
between
one
Grice
being
right now.
able to do their pace is
Let's not forget, just
Yayovsky.
going back to your point about Yayovsky and where to defend. If we remember back to qualifying, we were seeing a lot of purple sectors coming in late on, but
Yeah,
none of
Pelham,
them
because
were
I'm a
purple
class
final
above them.
sectors. We didn't see many green final
This is
sectors
GT
either.
Challenge
but
while
no
I
purple
race
final
GT Pro.
sectors suggest to me that Gurjowski was on fire through the final sector, and of course Ascari is contained within that. So yeah, let's not forget about that before we are surprised about his runs into Parabolica, as runs out of Parabolica is what Jimmy Nisler just used to get alongside Jake de Stout, and he's managed to get the inside line through Curva Grande as well, and the shorter distance may well help himself to a third place here. Let's wait and see. They've got to battle it out in the second chicane first. It's letting these leaders get away once again, but let's see how much Jake de Stout fights this. Not very much in the end. Varking, he thought about getting involved, but not quite. So it all stacks up behind, but now they've got a 5-second lead to Philip Dreas and Darren Baldwin, and lap by lap, it's looking like a battle between those two. Here's how Nisila got through into third.
Well, certainly he's easy to spot.
Yeah, so
Adam.
it was just a case of he seemed to have a better drive out of Parabolica.
Nice dive into
turn
turn one.
Corner and gave the space,
Sporting amount of
racing
room
between these guys, and left himself with the inside line up to the Curva Grande, as we saw on the exit to the first chicane, and just used that shorter line to take the position away. And that recovery drive is falling into place a little bit for Nisila now. He just needs to reel in the race leaders now and see if he can take the fight to dry some ball.
Oh yeah, Yoski's gonna take another one.
Move out of Ascari.
He's soon gonna be back in the front, you'll see.
On the other side of the track, going around the outside this time down towards the Parabolica, and yeah, it just seems like he's able to carry so much more momentum out of Ascari. Every single time we see him going down there, it's like he's going 30-40 miles an hour faster than everybody else. Almost.
You know,
like
Yayovsky is one of the best,
sector,
if not
that is another easy position.
the best GT driver in rFactor
well.
too.
Hakkinen on the outside line of Zoltan Varkingi into turn one, and he's got the slipstream as well. Varkingi is defended,
Well, arguably not the best since he's not in GT Pro, but
and he's gonna have to defend.
I mean, he has been GT Pro champion twice,
right
but
now, and they're still fighting it out shoulder to shoulder.
we know the stories about picks and drafts and stuff.
He's going to try and follow his teammate through.
I don't know, Adam. I think that according to the commentators, there should be.
Varkingi has the inside line for Curva Grande, which is going to help him a little bit, but here comes the run for Hakkinen and McDuff as well, who's just going to watch on from behind. Oh my word, they're so close, but Hakkinen takes it late enough on the brakes there just to be able to get through. Varkingi not giving up though, into Lesmo 1, not able to get through just for the moment.
Good performance
Exciting
by
racing,
Varkingi so far.
Yoski showing that even
Like,
if you do defend into Parabolica,
pretty much
it might
on
not
point,
be enough to even
as good
stand
as
a
you
chance of keeping him behind.
can
and
be with
indeed,
those
when you
guys.
get overtaken by him, you've got to watch on behind, because this battle is
Staying in the
this
drain,
train now
not
is
doing
so
silly
close
moves.
that you can't really afford to be pushed out
far
of
as I
line
can
at
see
any
right
point,
now.
because then the train's just going to come on by.
But look at this,
Yeah,
like,
you have to feel
Yayovsky is
the,
gonna
the
take the next
guys
one
are
out
really
of
starting to
Ascari.
turn it up to set back off down the road after Yayovsky. They've
He got
all
such a run of
pressuring
people there.
Vikanyi like nothing else at the moment. Now Hakkinen's through, he's got McDuff to worry about, as we're taking a look now at Yayovsky trying to take on one of the other Knight of Alex guys down towards the Parabolica. This is Stout up in front, as you can see the onboard from Yayovsky.
Look at that rear end of the
Lovely
Porsche,
picture
of that
as we head
Audi of
around. This
Yayovsky.
time,
Like,
Yayovsky not able to
not
get the
even
move
a
done
wiggle
by the time we go
whatsoever.
into the Parabolica, but he's just going to slingshot out and try and get the slipstream down towards turn
just
one.
knows
Which way is
how
he
to
gonna go? Is he
position
gonna
and
try
drive
fake
these
the Stout
GT3
out? Is he
cars
gonna
so good.
sell him a dummy somewhere? We'll have to wait and see. You can see just how close they are, and it is down to the inside then for Yayovsky.
Laid on the
Under Stout,
brakes,
is he
easy
going to be able to
move.
hold it in time? And he is, and there wasn't really a whole lot of defending there, it looked like, from the Stout.
Not really, but certainly it was a close drag race between the two of them. Christian Mikel just got through on Rory McDuff as well down into turn one, by the way. That was a Knight of Alex, a little bit of a swap going on.
So if there are mandatory pit stops, I would expect them to happen
like it to me, but
soon.
Because it would be hard to do in a train like this, as you might be able to imagine. But yeah, certainly Christian Mikel starting to stretch his legs here in this one. He's back to where he
we got
began the
Panza in
race, certainly,
13th
but
in the
got
meanwhile.
overtaken
Good
by
stuff.
Yoski fairly early on, as has everybody subsequently. So let's wait and see. Was this orchestrated? It actually looks like it. McDuff gets early on the brakes, Mikel very late on them, and yeah, that looks like it might have been a planned move. Not entirely sure what the communication will be like between drivers in this kind of race.
Championship-wise, it wouldn't make sense, but that's not really what you do usually in race one or even number one.
Yeah, it's certainly not like an endurance race where you would definitely be in your team or chatting to your teammates at the same time. But although it did It did certainly look like those two both knew that overtake was going to happen because they had just planned it.
Yeah, and perhaps this may be why, as we see Christian Mikel now taking a look at Verconyi going down into the Parabolica. Can't quite sling it around the inside, but he's going to carry that momentum up, give him what will be the inside line down towards turn 1 and into the slipstream once more. But will he keep that inside line down into turn 1? Is he going to be carrying enough momentum on Zoltan Verconyi? Verconyi going defensive early up towards the inside. He's going to force Mikel around the outside if he wants to battle for this position. That's almost pulling alongside, squeezing him at the outside. I think that's a pretty firm no from Verconyi, but it's not over yet as we head down through the Curva Grande once more, as we take a look a little bit further back now in this same battle for 6th position, down on board with Kurjan. Taking a look at Stupovsky up in front of him as well. You can see just how close this battle is. All the cars in front, all battling for 6th position.
Christian Mikel he was on the inside briefly, but wasn't able to get through. Varkingi stays in front for the moment. McDuff forced to get in line as well. So it's a train as they go through the two Lesmos as well.
It's a bit weird.
And yeah, it's getting very close indeed between
They
all
said
of these
something
guys.
about pit stops,
sliding going on as well.
Doesn't make any sense to not have boxed
they're all
until
very
yet.
distant from the lead of the race. Philip Dreas and Adam Baldwin, we got a glimpse of them not so long ago. They're still out front, 2 for the lead. Not entirely sure if Baldwin's just hanging back or whether he can't actually live with Dreas right now, but it would certainly be a fairy tale story for NeedRacing.com if they were able to get a race win with Philip Dreas here. Up 1 space from his grid order, and Yoski doing one of the best certainly inside the top 10. Kurjan's not doing bad either, but he might be able to lose one of those spots right now because, gain another one, because that's Stopowski defending from him, not indeed trying to go through. There may be a move coming on down into turn number 1.
I could imagine
given the
some pile-ups towards the end of the race.
Seems to be very, very strong indeed. Let's go on board with Roy McDuff though, because these guys have been very, very close for the last few moments. Varkingi is proving quite difficult to overtake though. We saw McDuff and Mikel swap not so long ago. Might have been because McDuff was struggling to get through, but Christian Mikel's not having too much more luck right now.
There's Ponza not too far away, so if there is happening something, Ponza
really
could
his elbows out and made that Audi
indeed,
as absolutely wide as he can, and he's
make up on it.
giving these Knights of Alex guys a run for their money trying to get through, which of course is gonna that gets frustrating after a while if you think you can, you know you're faster, but the guy in front is just driving a better defensive drive than you were expecting. It can get frustrating behind the wheel, and that's where we might see some little mistakes coming out and a little bit of impatience as the race goes on, because of course we are over half distance now, just under 21 minutes to go in this feature race, as we're taking a look a little bit further back at Paul Oroslana with Remy Delorme chasing him down at the moment. And this is proving to be quite a close battle for 18th and 19th, and that's one thing I'm loving seeing at the moment. It's not just battles up front, it's battles everywhere you look at the moment in GT Challenge. As we watching this battle even further on, there's no love lost between all these guys on track. They want these positions absolutely the best they can, as we're seeing. That is Henry Sinnick pulling alongside Remy Delorme down into Ascari, but not quite able to get the move done just yet. But this McLaren on McLaren battle might go on for a little while longer as we head down the back straight towards the Parabolica. Is Sinnick going to be in the slipstream for long enough to get enough overspeed to try the move we've seen Johan Jujovski do a few times so far in this race? He's going to have a look at it. Up the inside he goes. And yeah, just like we've seen Jujovski doing further up the grid, Sinnick diving up the inside of the Parabolica.
Delorme is close enough for...
Delorme is coming back at him in the slipstream down the main straight now.
Are gonna come back.
Will he take a look? That's very early defensive driving from Sinnick, taking the inside line as we head down towards turn 1. It's side by side, Remy Delorme and Henry Sinnick. Who's going to come off on top? Who's going to brake later? It does look like Henry Sinnick very late on the brakes. In fact, will he be able to stop it in time?
I hate this type of driving. Like, brake late and use the entire corner, like to not even think about giving space to the car outside.
Race 1 because of his qualifying, but yeah,
fastest GT3 on a lap currently, probably either Bentley 17 or Audi 19, 18.
Remy Delorme trying to get through, but no way through for the moment, and he stays behind. Here is the battle for the lead, and on the last lap, Adam Baldwin did lose a little bit more time to Philip Dreas just in front. It's 8 tenths of a second that separate them right now, but it fluctuates, of course, as...
By the way, guys, I agree. I don't think there's any pit stops
go through the lap. So coming
I
up
think
towards the end
best
of
Jajoski can do from here on now is get Nizula.
Because we're
But then
under
is
2 minute
Nizula
lap
also
times,
in a
but we're just
McLaren?
about coming up to
I
18
think
minutes
he
to go.
is.
Probably 10 more.
So
still remaining for these guys.
actually, about the fastest
Obviously,
GT3,
this race
probably
is
the McLaren
3 times as long
720
as
in
it
race
was,
trim.
3
On a
times as
single
long as
lap,
the first
not
race,
so
I should
much,
say, which
but
has given them
in the race,
a
it's
little bit more
incredibly
time
good.
to get back through the field or fall down the field. Unfortunately for some that have experienced that throughout the race. But let's have a look at the battle with Varking involved, because he was a little bit of the cork in the bottle not so long ago. Still seems to be that way, but for whatever reason, despite the fact that Hakkinen and Just Out were able to get through without too much trouble, Mikel and McDuff are seemingly both stuck, and there doesn't seem to be a lot either of them could do about it right now.
No, Vaconier's doing a great job of keeping those two behind. He's got the two Knight of Alex guys in front, and he's holding the other two behind him.
Shame about that slipstream, actually. You know, we're at Monza, where we have slipstream fest as much as you can have, and
Della Roger chicane, but still not quite
well,
close enough.
needless to say,
whether he's just chilling out for the moment and waiting,
that
and
we do not see much battles at
waiting
all.
it out and gathering himself together. I'm not sure, as we
Because slipstream is just not powerful enough.
In the Porsche, as we head through the first Lesmo down into Lesmo 2, not really going to be a move.
That said, we
Penny
probably
carrying the
see an
momentum.
overtake
Down the
here
back straight,
now
of course, we've seen
soon,
the straight line speed on that
potentially.
Porsche. It's going to make life very difficult to get a move down here done. You can see even with the slipstream, the Porsche is ever so slightly pulling
Robin
away
got
through
past
here, and I think that's going to be the big frustration.
Diogo
for Grosjean at the
Silva.
moment.
But Silva
He's
was
faster in the
dropping
corners, but the
a
Porsche
lot
seems to be
in
faster the straights.
the last couple of laps.
Absolutely, it's very, very quick in a straight line by the looks of things, which is, you'd think, helpful around Monza, but it's not been so far for them. Not able to break the top 10 in a result so far, but Stopalski might be able to with this result here. Depends if he can stay in front of Grosjean or not. Might even look and set his sights a little bit further up the order, because the Audi certainly seems to be struggling that little bit against them in a straight line, especially the Nitro Velux ones. We've seen evidence of that so far, but let's have a look. Is Varking going to be under any pressure at all into turn 1? Or is it going to have to be brave from Mikel at some point if he indeed is going to get through? If we're looking at this like a championship fight that we think it might be between Jajoski and Mikel and all of these Nitro Velux guys, then he's currently 4 places down on Jajoski. He really needs to get up the order just a little bit more, but when you're not able to, I guess you're not able to, and at round 1, I guess it's not worth putting all your cards on the table. I guess it's not worth putting all of your money on...
I'll tell you what they are doing, Nitro Velux. They are trying to get themselves into the top 5 and not care about Jajoski at all.
This early stage, despite the fact that
that will just do the job for them to get them up into GT Pro.
Yeah, you may be right, and I thought we may have seen a move on there. It looked like Vaconio went a bit deep into the first part of turn 1, and it sort of let Mikel have a little bit of a sniff, but there wasn't really any chance for him to get alongside. But we're talking about brewing battles, that one going on for a while. This one seems to be resurfacing once again. Adam Baldwin's really closed the gap down now on Philip Dryce, down to under half a second. It was nearly a second a little bit earlier on. So that battle's going
Honestly,
on.
there is so much movement around P9, 10, 11.
Very, very close still to the back of Vaconio.
I think they could potentially end up in contact somewhere, and then Robin Ponza has the chance to snip up more places.
And you don't want to miss anything. So get your matchsticks out, folks.
So out of a burst esport point of view, that's really important. So here, this is exactly what I mean. There is stuff happening. They are now getting into battles. And Robin is running in clean air right now, so he will join them soon.
We'll be able to almost smell the exhaust fumes coming out the back of that Audi. He's getting so close, almost climbing into the diffuser as we see both the Knight of Alex guys pull across to the side. And we're across the inside, there's contact between the two of them, rubbing doors as they head down into turn 1, and still Vaconio managing to hold on to the position.
Well, a little bit of friendly fire
really
there
nice.
as well, with McDuff coming steaming into the corner. Mikel trying to get a run off of the corner, and the two lines almost converged there, and that could have been disastrous for the German. He would have been spinning around, but not on this occasion. Varking will have to defend again. He doesn't although didn't need to in the end because Christian Miguel can't get through. Good run out of the second chicane though. Fantastic run.
That's the spot.
And into Lesmo 1. This might be the opportunity. Zoltan Varkingi on the outside line. He dealt this to Jimmy Nisler in the first race. And
there you
Miguel has
go.
just shoved him off.
There you go.
Oh, Varkingi comes back. McDuff tries to let them both back through. McDuff gets through again. And they're side by side off the corner. Here's Stepanski trying to make it free wide.
Oh, no.
This track is so narrow, but he might just manage it. They're so close. They're rubbing panels on the way up there. Stopowski's got them.
Oh, they're going to make contact.
He's got them both into Ascari. He's on the outside line, and he's made it through into.
And Robin is on the case.
Varkingi's lost
5th car in the group.
McDuff is still not able to get through. Johan Kurjan's involved. So's Robin Panzer and Diego Silva.
Varkingi, that was a bit over the top though.
Fantastic racing at the moment towards the parabolic.
That's not fantastic racing, isn't it?
Porsche now leads the pack, but it's got fantastic straight line speed, so it might not be able to be answered here unless there's a bad run from Stopowski.
Guys, crunch time, 12.5 minutes to go.
Is up right now with 12.5 minutes to go.
Yes, Robin, get in there.
Sideline of Kurjan at the moment. Let's see if McDuff is going to be reeled into this fight. It doesn't look like it for the moment. It's going to be a fight between those two over 11th place, and Kurjan's come off second best.
Kurjan, I think that was your fault, mate.
A couple of spaces to Diego Silva, who goes through as well. What a fantastic battle, though. Stopowski, great driving.
Yeah, and I think Kurjan's going to be kicking himself a little bit there. It looked like there was a little bit of a contact between himself and Panzer going down into turn 1.
Yeah, but where shall Panzer go?
Decided to try and fall back in, but Panzer was already there, I think, as we do take a look at a replay of the move a little bit earlier on through the lesson, as you can see.
That was mad though. I thought he was dying there already. But Stepkovsky, I have not thought
in a straight line, if I
that
find
there's
and he just puts that
so close between a big pile-up.
Coming down there, you can see Stopowski just pulling past them all the
but
way
arguably that racing is a lot cleaner than what we had in GT Pro.
And yeah,
not
it's a case of, okay, we're going to have a fight, but you need to be aware of your mirrors. And Stopowski taking advantage of those that aren't.
This was more clean than I expected it to be in the initial situation.
Through that section of the track, and still holding that position now up to P8, Stopowski. And that is
we're not done yet.
McDuff coming off worst of all of them there, I think, down in P10 now.
Yeah, he was trying not to get in the way of Christian Miguel by letting him through, but in doing so, he got a really poor run off Lesmo 2 and allowed Varkingi back in, which is really not what he wanted. We're on board with him right now, and we'll see if he can finally get through, but when he does, I don't really see where he's going to get to with it. Just over 10 minutes remaining in this race right now. We've got not too big of a gap for the lead, so let's hope we do get a fight between those guys towards the end. Yoski and Nisler,
yeah,
that
fight
very
isn't
close
done
as
yet
well. Either. Well, it's not really begun, but it's certainly going to commence by the end, I would imagine. Let's see, Johan Kurjan and Robin Panzer. Kurjan just coming back
I'm sorry, but where shall Robin go?
And I have to say that he was the one who came off second best, but I would say, without being too harsh, without wishing to be too harsh, I think that was probably his fault, really, edging back onto the line like that.
Yeah, so exactly as I thought I saw it. I just don't think he realised the speed that Panzer was coming up behind him. Thought he'd have enough room, and of course that Bentley is.
Yeah, probably a little bit of virtual mirrors issue.
Judging it, and he's paid the price.
Showed
really,
probably that
Kurjan,
Robin is
like
further down behind.
Involved for that battle for 8th place, and he's never going to have to.
So I think Yovski's going to come up third.
As he can in the remaining 9.5 minutes.
Question is what will happen around P10.
Still going on between Philip Drace and Adam Baldwin, and still the gap just 4/10. Adam Baldwin, of course, led after lap 1 and lost the position to Philip Drace earlier on. Now looking to come back at him, and see the different approaches there as we get the very nice 3-wide view here of Yovski, McDuff, and Adam Baldwin.
People with the triple's gonna love it.
All involved in their own battles throughout the circuit. You see the race for the lead there on the far left.
McDuff is considerably close now, though, for a move. And I think Yovski
so much
may be stuck on the top speed of Nizula here.
To see all these battles going on at once.
And Dry's car got considerably bad damage on the rear right. I wonder where that's coming from.
This is great racing up and down the field. And it's a bit of a misery cam, all three of these at the moment, because they're not quite close enough to make dives, but they're also really quite very close.
You see it on the rear, right?
Just in that very
that car
awkward
looks
distance
broke
of
ahead
being
of
close
him.
enough to be able to see them and, you know, really start to get into the mirrors, but not quite able to make a dive just for the moment. It's the most frustrating distance to be at, but I feel like Philip Dreyfus may have gone out a little bit too hard in this race right now, and is feeling the effects of that on his tyres, maybe. Adam Baldwin taking a little bit better care of them.
Was that enough of contact to break the car?
8 minutes to go as things stand. I think.
Oh yeah, you're right. No, it was on the other side though.
Maybe 5.
Dries was on the outside on turn 2, but the damage is on the outside lane, so not on the inside.
Certainly under 10 minutes by the time the race
actually
finishes. And Philip Dreyfus has got a big job in his hands right now. That's a long time to be defending from a car that is faster than you. The saving grace for him is the fact that they are in the same car, and that's kind of useful because same machinery and all that, but it doesn't discount the fact that they're going to have much different tyres on
is the left part of the car that's broken.
Obviously, they've both got them on since the start, but they have indeed got different wear on them. They've been looking after them in different ways. It doesn't look like Philip Dreyfus has been looking after them very well as we go
look
on
at that
with
gap.
Yoski trying to get
Yoski is close before even losing ground to Nizula, despite being just 2/10 off.
Yoski is going to have a very difficult final 7 minutes as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, both these guys were in GT Pro last season and showing why with some great battling going on.
Yeah.
A little bit back.
McDuff is smart. I don't think that car ahead of Varaconi can hold on.
This is trying to chase after Varaconi.
Question is, what can Robin Ponza put in pressure-wise, as he's right behind.
But for all he's had,
and the McLaren is quite a bit faster on a straight line speed, as you can see.
And he's still doing a good job of that, but McDuff's going to have to watch his mirrors now as Pansar's coming up behind, and this is about as close as we've seen the battle for the lead now.
Final 6 minutes.
Philip Dreyfus with Adam Baldwin all over the back of that car.
And Dries is struggling lap by lap.
I think that is as close as they've been coming down towards Ascari once more.
Not sure if he's maybe overused the tyres now.
Baldwin,
actually a thing in the 45-minute race.
Down to the parabolica. We'll have to wait and see
when you overheat them too much.
Who's going to carry the more momentum? Who's going to come out on top here? Different lines.
Baldwin's going to have a chance here.
Adam Baldwin's a lot faster through there. Which line's he going to go? He pulls over to the left side of the track. Alongside they go. Then you can see just how small the gap is as they pull along side by side now down towards the parabolica. Who's going to be the braver one on the brakes? Is it Dries going to have the inside line? Is Adam Baldwin going to try and take it round the long way, or is he going to try and switch back, pull into the slipstream, and take that momentum?
It's stupid to really try and overtake that, actually.
There's no way through, as you say.
I experienced that too.
He's going to have to fall in behind and try and re-close that gap once again.
I think he was taken by surprise at the lack of grip on the outside there. There was really no grip to him to hang it round the outside, even though Dries is clearly struggling. You saw him going through Ascari then. He was wayward at best, really.
Yeah, to be honest, Dries' rear tyres are dead.
Sliding that car. These guys have got traction control, ABS. And, you know, you think that, well, often in real life, I mentioned earlier on, it seems that these cars have no character. You can't slide them about. But Philip Dreyfus' car has certainly got a little bit too much character for him at the moment. It hits the slow-mo. You can just see the different lines that you basically want to drive like the guy on the left.
That's not different lines. The front was a mistake.
Not really there. I'll say that. And Adam Baldwin just puts himself in the gravel. But 2.5 seconds now. Jimmy Nisula is quite close to the lead as well. Excuse me. Even
imagine Jajoski overtaking Nisula and then Dries and Baldwin
get himself
die while battling out for the lead.
Of course, can they maybe snatch a surprise victory? It's been Dries and Baldwin
they've been certainly
at the front of this
coming
race
close
for
now.
so long, but they could have their hearts broken right at the very end. Let's take a quick look at what happened down to the second game. We didn't quite see this because we were looking at what happened at Parabolica preceding. How did Baldwin end up in the gravel? He's on a very tight line and bounced over the curbs all wrong there. He's pushing quite hard now.
Yeah, it looked like he was thinking about a dive up to the inside, but then Dries shut the door on him and it left him in a very awkward angle to try and close off the second corner.
This is the situation for Jajoski now.
Setting the car, bouncing around, and that's how he ended up in the gravel. As we take a look now at Jajoski, you can see how much closer these guys are getting to the race leaders now as they're starting to squabble again.
Yeah,
So
Yoski is
Nishula and Yoski
still
to close
slower
that gap down to really
than the
limit
car ahead.
what could be a two-car
Look
fight
at that.
for the lead right now, albeit with only 3.5 minutes of the race left.
That's
Could
insane.
be a 4-car battle come the end of Yoski. You can see him. He's trying to take a look, and that was a little bit deep for you.
Now he is very close. Oh, Robin, go for it! Go for it!
From Robin Pansar into turn 1, side by side. There you go.
Contact a bit between the
two, but no love lost.
Yes, that should be your position.
But on the outside, heading up towards the Curva Grande.
Ah, look at the top speed of the McLaren. It's a yoke.
And this is what we're saying about the fighting going on. Pansar has managed to get past McDuff. If you take a look at the time screen.
Yes, he got the job done. Awesome.
Eyes locked on the battle.
That McLaren and the straight line speed in the race is just so biblically good.
The Burst Esports car. But coming back at him, trying to find a way past him into Lesmo 1. It's non-stop action at the end of this race.
It is absolutely non-stop, and there may be 1 or 2 laps to go. It's not entirely clear just for the moment. It's going to be really close, actually, as to how many laps we have to go. Diogo
Silva nearly lost it there.
Out of Lesmo 2 in 12th position. Here
now look at this. Look at this.
It looks like the race wind's a little bit too far away.
Yeah, Yoski is close.
Things really go wrong for those guys at the front, but we've seen all day.
And now comes the
has been fantastic, and we're
performance
seeing it again.
of the
Is
McLaren.
There straight line speed on the Audi to make it work? Yes, there is.
Wow,
and
what a
gets
move!
Into third position.
And I tell you what, Nisula's gonna come back at it. He's just going to pull alongside and
in this one. It looks like
later
he might have salvaged a decent result, but it might not be a podium. The McLaren's got good straight line speed though. He's going to be on the outside line again. He's got a good chance of taking this position back here. There's fantastic straight line speed. The slipstream helping as well, of course. Is he going to be late enough on the brakes though? Yoski's got the inside line and he's going to guard that with all his might, and he does indeed. What about the runoff of turn 2 though?
Whoa.
It's not very good.
What an exit.
They come side by
What
side.
an exit of Nisula.
Turn 2 and through the Curva Grande they go. 2 GT Pro demotees from last season battling it out in GT Challenge at the front of this race. And here we go, Yoski on the outside line. Can he make it work to get through on Nisula finally? No, he can't. And here comes Turkka Hakkinen. Can he get
strong
involved?
driving
Maybe.
from
Not
Nisula.
quite for the moment.
Besides
He's
top
just
speed of
watching
the
and waiting,
McLaren.
maybe hoping for a little incident in front so he can slip on by onto the podium, but not quite able to do it on this occasion. We've got 1 minute to go in this race.
That was proper pressure on.
We've also got a lap to go. Nisula, 1 lap too many as he goes wide through Lesmo 2.
Aero push from the Audi behind? No.
That was the invitation that Yoski
but
needed.
yeah,
he
that
was
is
definitely not going to decline it, and he
Yoski
goes straight through
probably
into third position. Very, very smart driving indeed. Just bided his time.
Extended edition,
Waited
thank you
for
so
the
much
right
for the
moment,
follow.
and
Welcome
he
to the watch
absolutely
party
when indeed
of the GT
it
Challenge.
Came around. 3.5 seconds to
Race
the lead
1.
is a little bit
event
too
1.
much, but it's
Nisula
still a third
throwing
place
it
for
away
Yoski,
with
and
a slide.
2 podiums on the first event for him is going to be a very, very successful one.
Sergio
indeed.
Dami, thank you so much
that
for
is
your
the way
follow
it's gonna
and
pan
welcome.
out. Let's see
Final
as they go through the
seconds
final
of
corner
the
for
race.
penultimate time. There's going to be
There's one more
in
lap.
this race. Is Adam Baldwin close enough to get this lead away from Philip Dreyer?
Can Nisula come back at it? No, he's too far back. So is Baldwin.
To stay in front into third position.
And I think also Robin is too far back of the other Audi for
but
P9.
The McLaren's very good in a straight line, and we're seeing
but Robin in
here once
P10
again,
is a very good result.
Into turn 1, and he stays behind here once again.
Where's
Baldwin
Cameron?
makes a bit of a mistake,
P21.
and the gap goes out to 3/4
Oh,
of a
reasonably
second.
alright.
Is Philip Dreyer going to hold on
For the first
in his
GT
first
Pro
ever
race,
GT
Challenge.
event? He might be able to take a race win here in the main feature race as we go a little bit further back. David Coloxide trying to get through on Thomas
Hello,
Black for
Kiko.
14th position. One of these battles a little bit further down, and we might keep mentioning about the battles up and down the field all throughout, and it looks like that's the case.
Hansa is
here
close
once
to
again,
Vacconi though.
in the second race. Is Adam Baldwin
Just
close
2.5
enough? Just
tenths
monitoring the gaps
for-
at the front of the field in the top left-hand side of your screen, because Yoski looks strong enough to hold on here for me. He's got a good run out of Lesmo 2 as well, which is his last danger point. I think his run through a score, he may well just be good enough. But is Philip Dreyer going to be just about good enough to hold on to this one? I think he may well be. Baldwin's closing up in every braking zone through every single corner you can imagine, but I don't think it's going to be enough for Adam Baldwin. It doesn't look like it will be. 3/4 of a second And Philip Dreas is running away with this one. He's got a little bit more speed coming towards
Saudi,
as
which
well.
blue flag?
He might well just hold on for this one. Yoski is going to do the same. He slides his way through Parabolica again.
Dries nearly dies.
Edge right towards the very end. But Philip Dreas
holds
looks
on
like
to
he's
it.
going to come across the line.
Honda is close to Vaconi though. 1.5 tenths.
What a fantastic
Is he actually going for a move now?
Baldwin pushed him all the way. Yoski recovered from 9th to get up to a podium position here once again ahead of Jimin
again? Just one lap missing.
That was. Adam Baldwin wasn't quite able to do
massive
it
job,
at the
Robin,
very end,
P10.
but he gave him
Grande.
a very, very good run for his money.
Saudi,
Yes,
maybe
he
you
did.
give
There
me
was
more
a-
tips
there was
than
some
maybe I remember.
Tremendous battling throughout the field in this
Blue
race,
flags
and yeah,
in Le
it's hard
Mans.
to pick sort of my favourite drive.
Doesn't
out
ring a
of
bell at the
everybody
minute.
there with Dries and Baldwin taking their fights all the way through. Here is our race winner, of course, Philip Dries, but Yoyovski's had a great fight through, of course, having to get past through all the Knight of Alex guys from P9 from that reverse top 10 start. Vaconi did a great job.
But not in Le
defending
Mans,
from
wasn't it
those
Spa
throughout the
last
as well.
race?
There's been so much action, so much to unpack after that. And here is our confirmed race.
I
result.
can't
Philip Dries
remember,
taking
Saudi.
away the race win from Adam
Which is
Baldwin
probably
at the end.
good. If it is not that bad of an
Taking
event,
his second podium of this event, he's got a win
then
and a third place, a great haul of
I
points
can't
for him
remember. And then
in this first round of the championship.
I wasn't that Spa
managed to hold on
though.
to fourth after what was a bit of a
Jerome.
poor start in the feature race with
I can't
Jack
remember.
Ackman, Jake Stout and Christian Mikel in 5th, 6th and 7th.
Kiko, nothing you could do about it. It's just the nature of the car. It's just the nature of that Audi GT3.
Tremendous job defending through that race and the top 10.
So guys, actually, you know what? That's gonna do it for this one. That's gonna do it for the watch party here in the GT Challenge. Thank you so much for your time and thank you so much for your appearance so far. I want to also thank you guys for all the new follows and subscribers on the YouTube channel. Much appreciating the support, boys. And yeah, other than that, I don't think further streaming tonight. When you came out of the pits. Oh, I think I ran wide into turn 1 to dodge you. Yeah, now I remember that. But yeah, in the end, not as worse as it really makes a difference, you know. Anyway, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. That's also gonna do it for today, I'm afraid. No further streams planned in my mind right now. We will surely do something tomorrow all together. I thank you so much for the time. Hope you've enjoyed it. And please, if you appreciate it, make sure you give the video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow up on Twitch, make our community grow. And then we will see each other for the next couple of days. Next big stream indeed is on Monday, the Formula Pro Round 3 at the Nürburgring. And you guys will be particularly interested, so I guess you will tune in, and the stream will go live 19:30 Central European Summertime. Beyond that, Saturday, Sunday, some streams, some goodies planned, maybe some little clips coming up. Currently trying some stuff, so yeah, lots of small changes coming up. Anyway, guys, much appreciate your time, much appreciating your support, and we see you then next time. Goodbye.
Yeah.